Now. So in just a second, I will have the reaction of the various Democrats to Trump's illegal regime change in Venezuela. A lot of them are exploding in anger and saying the right stuff. Some of them are barely getting a passing grade, and then others are flopping miserably. So I'm going to give you the breakdown, the good, the bad, and the ugly on that. You don't want to miss that. Then we're going to jump to MAGA Online cannot stop posting complete AI slop promoting Trump's new war. The number of times they got caught lying, making some shit up, spreading misinformation is astonishing. It's astonishing to watch unfold in real time, trying to justify and rationalize a brazen war for oil where they loot and pillage for the billionaire class. So we'll talk about that. We also have the anti-war, so-called anti-war MAGA voters were clearly exposed as total frauds. We got some incredible flip-flops. We have probably the most terrifying story of the day is Trump now openly threatening to attack Mexico, Cuba, Colombia, Greenland, and Panama next. And now I think he's emboldened. I think he feels emboldened. And so that is a terrifying, terrifying place to be. And then we'll get to the hidden reason for Trump's Venezuela war that they don't want you to know. I have it here for you today. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, yet again, viciously goes after Trump. The Wall Street vultures are planning to loot Venezuela right in front of our eyes. And we already have some polling numbers on what Trump did here. And Americans are flat out revolting against trash. So we'll talk about all that and more. You guys know the drill, man. Everybody, please do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel. That, of course, helps out.
Whoops. How's it going? Can you hear me?
Video delivered right to you as soon as it drops. You don't have to.
Oh, wait. Thank you. Sorry. Fuck that guy.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. That was starting off the new year
What a
with a
rocky
blunder.
start.
Yay.
What a rocky start we got off to. But that was good. That was good. I'm actually
I guess it's not so bad. There's only two of you guys there to see that nice little face plant at the start.
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
No, I know, but the point is, we actually informed the audience that was not exactly the opener we were trying to start with. I think what happened is
it played and then it went to the next thing
ahead of time, and then it went to fucking autoplay, being harnessed to pump garbage at any person who looks at anything remotely revolutionary. Fuck you, YouTube, and every other platform like you. Happy New Year.
Want to stop it and switch? Fuck this guy.
Here
we go.
Pero tú no ves la amenaza que es para nosotros, el imperio de los Estados Unidos.
¿Por qué cree que Estados Unidos quiere atacar Venezuela?
Bueno, ahí está la historia reciente. Yo te voy a decir la causa más importante. Aquí mismo, está la reserva de petróleo más grande de este planeta. Aquí en Venezuela tenemos petróleo para más de 100 años. A Estados Unidos se le está acabando el petróleo. La razón de mayor peso de que Estados Unidos quiera poner aquí un gobierno subordinado a él, al imperio, como lo tuvieron durante mucho tiempo, es el petróleo venezolano.
Quiero hacerle una pregunta sin que a usted le moleste.
Hold on.
Oops.
Oh, it wasn't even over. I'm so sorry. I think we have breaking news.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, it wasn't
in the
over.
meantime, while you recall that little video, nice to see you. Never seen you here before. Hope you're
I never seen you here before. Welcome with the
Hope you're
breaking news.
a new
And
viewer.
how did Jacqueline put that together that quick? Hey, at fascism.
I think it says you cannot vote out
You
fascism.
cannot vote out fascism.
Very interesting.
Vote blue harder.
Welcome to the team if you're here to be good. But that's
Okay.
speaking of the news that you're talking about, that's pretty incredible.
Can you Google what they're talking about, and I'll just finish this, and then we get back, and we'll see what this breaking news is about.
Right, but we had plenty to talk about, so I'm not really wanting to really pivot to that when we don't really have a clue what's going on so much. We need to.
Well, we can still, just
we can look into
people that is happening.
Yeah,
but,
if it's breaking news and we're live, we should break it, right? So, but that's about all we can do at this point. How's it going, everybody?
So I'm going back. I'm going back and I'm going to finish it out. It's 2 minutes, so we'll be back.
Mucho tiempo es el petróleo venezolano.
Quiero hacerle una pregunta sin que a usted le moleste. ¿Está usted paranoico con Estados Unidos?
No, de ninguna manera. Yo solo soy realista. Si tú le pudieras hacer esa pregunta que me has hecho a mí, lo que pasa es que no podrás porque la mayoría están muertos. Hazle esa pregunta a Jacobo Arbenz, que era presidente de Guatemala cuando yo estaba naciendo, tú no habías nacido. Solo porque quiso hacer una reforma agraria. Lo invadieron Estados Unidos y lo derrocaron. Tú pudieras hacerle esa pregunta a João Goulart, el brasileño. Lo derrocaron Estados Unidos. Tú pudieras hacerle esa pregunta a Salvador Allende, el presidente mártir. Tú pudieras hacerle esa pregunta derrocado por la invasión de los Estados Unidos. Tú pudieras hacerle esa pregunta a mi general Omar Torrijos, asesinado por la CIA. Y ya, muchos más. ¿No es paranoica? Es la verdad. Yo estoy cumpliendo una responsabilidad de jefe de Estado. Los paranoicos son otros, los de la extrema derecha, los enloquecidos que creen que el mundo no va a cambiar, las burguesías de este continente pitiyanquis que pretenden a rajatabla seguir dominando estos pueblos y no van a poder lograrlo. Solo después del 11 de septiembre, Estados Unidos empezó a hacer la lista de terroristas. Bueno, y a mí me tienen también en esa lista. Estados Unidos, el gobierno de Estados Unidos, lanzó una bomba atómica sobre Hiroshima, una bomba atómica. Y otras sobre Nagasaki. Eso es terrorismo.
Ain't it though? That's
very well said. Yeah. That video makes me feel like I want to make a bit of a correction or admission, or I failed to predict the Ukraine war.
It's hard to believe that we are the terrorists.
I'm just saying I failed to see the Ukraine war coming. Back then I was thinking things would look really bad, but I didn't expect the Russian invasion to occur, and I was wrong about that. And I kind of have to be fair and admit that. But then this is the second time where I was with Venezuela. I was openly saying a couple episodes ago, I don't really see this happening. I think they got to call this bluff. Like, what are they really gonna do? And so I was wrong that to assume that they weren't really going to do something. However, I feel a little bit justified that what they did was kind of an exposure of their actual weakness, because they did an invasion that's not an invasion, right? They declare war that's not declaring war. They have to do everything in this way because they don't really want the consequences of really doing what they want to do, because they couldn't even if they
And
wanted
this
to.
this is why everyone needs to go revisit 1984 George Orwell and remind yourselves of the mind fuck that is happening right now, so you can keep your sanity. And Sulamoon, I understand that. I watch a lot of chats. I watch them live, but I'm still doing stuff in the background, so I don't get to comment all the time. But I am actually there, you know, like trying to clean up my house, cook, you know, live my life. But I'm trying to listen and learn at the same time. So I'm glad that you hang around, even if you don't chat with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. I don't need people to comment. What we need is people to watch, to like, share, and subscribe. I guess
We need people to listen
we like
and
that, but yeah.
and take the information and send it, push it forward. Right, that's what we need. That's the point.
Yeah.
So I guess we should just kind of say that we had came together when this stuff first started, and we were like, should we go live? And I don't know, we were both just the way we were feeling, and I wasn't into it. And I was like, everybody else is gonna cover it anyway, and
well, I was kind of ready to go live, but then like not really. Like my computer's not in a state to be able to do rapid fire reporting and stuff. Like, and then like we need to be on the same page and everything, and then we just didn't. You know, we have to be. You know what I'm saying.
I'm
like,
actually glad that we didn't, because some things have transpired that it was very interesting, just like watching on social media the no war Trumpers like all excited because we did that in 22 minutes. Like okay,
yeah, they were really proud of themselves.
It's not that we don't want to go to war. It's just that we don't want that many casualties, and we just don't want it to be like a long-term effect. But if we could take out a president in 22 minutes and make it a colony, then that's a win. And I'm like, what?
It was another one of those revealing moments, like when with the Charlie Kirk thing, about how the day after a whole bunch of people showed what they really felt out of their emotional kind of reactionary response to the situation. This is one of the things where we decided not to go live, is because like we had some more of an emotional take. I was definitely fucking pissed when I heard that. I woke up to find out that Maduro had been kidnapped, and I'm like, what the fuck, right? First of all, I was pissed off at the U.S., of course, for their insatiable need to be the worst human beings of all history. Okay, these particular people, not the American people, but the American administration that the people have been hijacked by, and then I was pissed at the Venezuelan military, because I was like, how could you let this happen? And there's a lot still.
Well,
we don't get to know.
There's reasons why, because they turned off all the electricity.
Right, the Americans managed to do that.
Like, we didn't know that at the time, right?
That sounds like
you could say, how do you let this happen? But
yeah,
but if you are if you're in the dead of the night and you can't see shit, that's how it happened.
And Maduro himself, I have
Trump
to say,
and everybody's bragging on the fact that, we have the technology to do that, and we could do that in Cuba, we could do that in Iran, we could do that this place and that place. And I'm like, this man is insane.
Yeah. I suppose
and who the fuck is we?
There was no betrayal that happened, and it was just the Americans pulled off a spectacular operation, special military operation, not a real invasion, right? But I feel like it's much more plausible that they had to have had some inside help. And it's not really too much of an indictment against the Venezuelan people, because when you understand how these vicious sanctions and everything work, that's what creates class traders even though the Venezuelan people are the most disciplined as far as class consciousness and class war of like anybody that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? So they are,
Yeah.
and the Cubans are maybe the exception, right? Like they're the only ones who really knows how to deal with this evil empire, you know. But then that's where I'm feeling like, why are you guys not hitting back harder, right? But I don't really understand. I'm not on the ground.
They didn't really have a chance to. I just want to put this comment up. Hi, Golden Monarch, by the way. So he's putting an angle that I don't think you or I were ready for tonight about. Now I do know Golden Monarch, and we haven't even discussed this, Michael. Like there's an angle where like they're saying it's about oil, but I've been doing some research on the side where it's not looking that much like it's about oil.
I'm glad we're kind of on
and
the same
I was
page on that.
very shocked. I was
It
very
is and it's
shocked
not
by all of
about
that
oil.
research.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe we'll get to it later or what have you. But I never looked at this aspect of crypto. So I don't know if you have any information on that, Michael, but I wasn't going to bring it. I wasn't going to bring that up. So maybe Golden Monarch, we could talk about you coming on again, and we could talk about that angle with you, because I'm not a crypto person.
I hadn't
But
taken
Golden
the time.
Monarch is.
I hadn't taken the time to check out the crypto angle here specifically, but I was looking into like AI stuff and silver markets. So something that's worth pointing out if you haven't really been paying attention, silver and copper are at all-time highs right now, but silver is more of the monetary metal. So, but all this Terrafor stuff, like the whole chickens coming home to roost stuff, what they've done by trying to disrupt like the Venezuelan oil, I don't think all their claims about trying to invest in getting that oil out of the ground, it's all bullshit. I think what they're trying to do is put a squeeze on oil production, as in to reduce oil production, right? So what's interesting is how Venezuela is a member of OPEC, and yet they are being betrayed constantly by Saudi Arabia and the UAE there. And so when we're looking at the silver markets and how there's like there's always these correlations between these commodities. And so oil and silver have a very interesting relationship. And then when we look at AI and silver, now we see the future of AI is going nowhere without massive amounts of silver. So I make a very long-term tentative prediction that the future of silver as a monetary metal is about to go extinct. And it's going to become a purely industrial metal to meet the demands of AI, or else the AI bubble will be popped in order to preserve the monetary metal value of silver, which is unlikely. So, but this is getting on, and crypto's got to have everything to do with that AI future, right? So that's kind of why I bring that up. But I didn't really look at the crypto angle specifically. So,
So I have a person. We're gonna be. Just disclaimer, everybody, we're going to be all over the place because we didn't really get a chance to come together and like put our thoughts in a plan way of presenting it to you. So we're going to be all over the place.
Which is our bad.
I was about to show
plenty of time, but we squandered it maybe. So.
I don't know about we squandered it. I think very busy.
Yeah, not necessarily not squander, but what we were saying offline was we really need to commit to doing more streams, because we just don't have enough time, and we're doing too much offline research. We need to kind of get more of it, what we're looking into behind the scenes, out to the public, because it kind of is a waste of time unless you guys see what we're doing, right?
Well, I want to show you. So when we were talking about, I need to make this bigger. So I'm going to show a few videos from this person. His handle on social media is called Mr. Global, but this is his name, Matt Randolph. And just so you have an idea of who he is, Matt Randolph is a globally recognized expert in the oil and gas industry with over 33 years of experience spanning exploration, production, and strategic operations. Matt has played a key role in shaping energy standards, optimizing field development, and leading multi-billion-dollar projects across North America. His career is marked by commitment to innovation. Okay, that's fluff. Matt is frequently sought after for keynote speaking engagements. All that stuff. Anyway, that gives you an idea who he is. Matt is currently a principal partner in a fully integrated upstream oil and gas company. So I've been like paying attention to some of the stuff he's been saying, and that's why I'm telling you I don't necessarily think it's all about oil anymore. But, you know, I don't know him. I'm just taking in information and trying to decipher the shit for myself.
He sounds like a man who served,
I'll show some of it.
Sounds like a man who served
Go
the
ahead.
bourgeoisie well. That's what I'm saying, right? So, but he doesn't mean he doesn't have expertise in the oil and gas industry where we can glean some useful information. But I'm curious.
Mean, some of it is I'm gonna give you like the rundown, okay? He's like, okay, first he's like, okay, the oil reserves, and he showed a graph of the oil reserves before Maduro took office, and then the numbers jumped, and he explained why, because Maduro said so. And I have a video, I can show it to you, what have you. So when the United States was there, what they were proposing was the available oil reserves. After they got kicked out for nationalization, the oil reserve numbers skyrocketed. And the people who define what the oil reserves are, they just gather the information from various countries and report it. Okay, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. All right. And then he was saying that like American companies don't even want to be there. Like this is dumb. I don't even know why we're going to Venezuela. Like why he even went there when it first happened. And I was confused by that. I'm like, what is he talking about? But then when Trump started saying, oh, we're going to rebuild the the industry and all that stuff. And we're going to, the refineries, the oil companies are going to rebuild the refineries, what have you. And they're going to get reimbursed. Ding, 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 ding. Reimbursed by who?
He's going to use American taxpayer dollars.
The taxpayers are going to be actually...
It's insane.
Not the oil companies. The taxpayers are going to be the ones paying to rebuild this infrastructure, these refineries. That's what he was talking about. And then he came back and spoke about that again, and I was like, oh, now I'm kind of seeing it. Yeah. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of my.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
As far as the law people, if ever you're gonna do anything with your law, now would be the time. Okay, I think the whole thing about
you're lagging.
Trump. Okay, sorry. They tried to impeach Trump, right, for whatever stupid thing that was a terrible idea that they knew was going to fail. This is the reason to impeach Trump. If you care about your own law, enforce it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to set the precedent that those laws are not applicable in these situations. That's the whole point that that the Trump administration is trying to accomplish here. They're trying to set like postmodernist, irrational legal precedents that break the concept of the law in a fundamental way. So they've inverted the law and turned the situation into a lawless situation. So you have to treat it like that. You can't pretend like your law matters anymore. And if it does matter, you have to enforce it and lock it, like kick them out of power, lock them up, whatever. Actually do that, or else don't ever talk to me about the law again. So
So is it okay if I just show you? I only have like 4 or 5 videos from Mr. Global. They're only 2 minutes long each, but all the stuff I was trying to tell you, like I'm just trying to spit it out of my mouth. Is it okay if I just go run through those so
Yeah.
everybody has like this understanding of what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's see the video about that you were talking about.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and go through it now. So this is him talking about the oil reserves, and you know we've discussed this about how much oil reserves they have.
Part about Venezuela that cracks me up the most. Do you know why the world thinks Venezuela has the most oil in the world? Because this guy said so. Like, literally. Because this guy said so. Maduro. That is the entire basis for the claim that Venezuela has the most oil in the world. Yes, 1,000%. See, this is Venezuela's proven reserves throughout history. And you see all this right here where it was around 50 billion barrels. That's when all of the American companies were there and reporting what they believed to be the total proven reserves was. You know what happened up here? That's when Maduro took over and said, I think it's 300. And what the government reports to the global agencies like the EIA, whatever they report is what gets published. So the notion that Venezuela has the largest oil deposit in the world is not based on scientific research or any data. It's just the trust me, bro, from a dictator. That is the entire basis of that argument.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm looking at him with one eye open and one eye closed, right?
I don't know about that. That's That sounds like
because I read to you, like, you know, his loyalties lie in America. Okay, so just because America was reporting that doesn't mean it's true. Just because Maduro was reporting that doesn't mean it's true. I don't know who to believe. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know about that. But I did want you to see it. Okay.
It is funny.
Yeah. Cobra says this guy's lying. Okay, I did just want you to see that.
This is what I find is the recurring theme. It's just that any data that is produced by non-Americans that the Americans don't like, they tend to pretend as if that data doesn't even exist. There's a similar situation with the election data. They were claiming in 2024 that Maduro never produced any election results proving that he won. That's completely bullshit. They produced all kinds of data, very robust, credible data. But then because the Americans didn't like the data that they saw, they declared that data does not exist. My eyes deceive. So anyway.
Okay, I'm going to show you two more. Okay, I'm going to take that down. All right. I'm going to show you two more. I can't even remember what this is. Let's see what he's talking about here. Oh, he's talking about OPEC.
Like, that's one of the things about the fascist characterization that I'm labeling on a lot of Americans like that guy, I would say.
Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it at all.
No, sorry. I'm just saying the whole thing about the use of the big lie technique. They think the bigger the lie, the more successful it will be. Well, that's kind of an exposure of their political, opinions that they keep secret, because they know they can't really be out of the closet as fascists, which is what they're trying to do, is make it comfortable possible for fascists to come out of the closet again. That's what a lot of Trump's actions are about. So
can you change the there it is. Thank you. All right.
Well, the OPEC 2020 deal is now the second dumbest thing Donald Trump ever did. Yeah. So we go to Venezuela, which is
what's happening?
It's just these platforms being their typical
founding member of OPEC and seize their country and their oil.
Possibly go. Oh, because right. My dog one.
Might have to refresh or something. Are you still there? I think you might have froze. I'm not sure if I'm still here. Hopefully you guys can see both of us or hear at least one of us. Goddamn crappy computers, whatever. Obsolete Windows 10, that kind of stuff. The way that they make shit.
Can you hear me
not
now?
work. There we go. Now you're back.
Hello.
Voice, but your screen's still.
Is it me you're looking for?
Camera's still frozen, but I can hear you fine. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. So then I'm here. You're still frozen. Yeah, when they actually get challenged, like I was watching that Stephen Miller, I think the guy's name is, interview. I think it was with Jake Tapper. Anytime you say anything, like even not even like a hard pushback, just like can we have a realistic question about, do other nations have the right to sovereignty? It's like, no, we have to immediately kind of jump on the person and bully them with flippant, childish, oppositional defiance, and as if that really establishes that you're in the right somehow, you know. Well, it looks like Abby's got the Ouroboros of death there going on. I'm gonna have to. She's gone now. I'm gonna have to find something to pivot to here. So what I was finding interesting was there's a lot of talk about Maria Corina Machado before this happened as the favorite for installation as their puppet leader, right? And it seems like it's funny to kind of watch them try to manufacture a narrative in real time and failing spectacularly. I think that maybe if you don't know what you're looking at, you can't quite tell. But if you've been following along for long enough and you're watching those mainstream sources in real time, you can see them really bad, like come up with really bad arguments that they think are somehow going to kind of convince stupid people that they've been spying on with all of their big data. So, but then it doesn't work a lot of times. So they were maybe trying to push this Corina Machado and then realizing that they can't be so flagrantly illegal with installing somebody who I think she's actually barred from being leader for some reason. I forget why. It's buried in my sources here. But so what I was finding is that there seems to be some conflict with the Europeans and the Canadian leadership with the Americans, because Trump felt that the Trump administration felt that they had to do this with such secrecy that they did what they're doing without informing a lot of their own dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, right? So there's a lot of contradiction as far as some Bonapartism, maybe as far as splits in the ruling class bickering and fighting over how to deal with the situation, which is perfect for us in a sense, because the more that they are in disunity, the less likely they are to respond to Russia and China in the long term in a way that's going to actually save their falling apart empire. So are you back there, Abby?
Hello.
Hello.
Is it me you're looking for?
Welcome back. I was just saying talking about Maria Corina Machado, how she's was the darling and now she's out. There was something about Trump. I don't know how to take it seriously. The claim that the reason why she's not really allowed to be the new opposition leader is because she took Trump's Nobel Peace Prize, and
she keeps trying to give it to him.
And he's so
pathetic.
vain.
It's so
he's so narcissistic
pathetic.
that he won't. That he's
it's
not going to.
Can we share it?
Yeah, that
Can
he has
I
to
give
punish
it
her
to
for it.
you?
I feel like that could be a cover story. As far as the real reason is more because they know for a fact what they were hoping for by destabilizing the Venezuelan people by removing their leadership. They thought that they were undisciplined enough that they would be able to have their way with them and put in whoever they want. However, they were clearly disappointed, and they had to come up with some kind of plan B. So the Europeans and the Canadians I was seeing in the media have been pushing this guy called Eduardo Gonzalez Urrutia, the guy who allegedly won the election in Venezuela according to the Western imperialists, the guy that they're pretending won, and then Maduro and his administration put out an arrest warrant for this guy for trying to interfere with the election, kind of do a coup d'etat by election. And so he fled to Spain, and he's been there, under asylum ever since, which is an ironic thing about extradition. There's a lot of extradition stuff happening as far as like violations of extradition treaties, and like they kind of made extradition treaties a dead letter with this kind of nonsense, right? So, but yeah, that's where I was.
I apologize. I forced you to go all. Now we're all over the place. I had some stuff about her too, but
I'll just share a little article about that from back in the day. So, because I'm not sure how much people were informed about that back at the time, and so maybe we'll just cover some old news for a minute.
Hi, Cobra. Hi, Sean, Lance. Why and Jacqueline? I didn't say hi to Jacqueline yet. And while you're pulling that up, can I just mention that we would like to do a open forum podcast once a week where everybody can just come on and we can just talk about whatever people want to talk about. We'll try to manage the discussion as best, but also give people leeway to let it flow the way they want it to flow. So if you guys are interested in that, because I've been on some podcasts like that where anybody could just come up and freely have discussions, and I enjoy them, and I figured maybe our people that listen to us might enjoy doing that as well and have free-flowing conversations. So I guess when we do them, we'll label it some way, like a free-flow conversation or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
like
on
fun.
Tuesdays or something.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to evolve our little operation here. It could stand for some evolution and some growth. We've been kind of doing things the same way for the last 2 years, I guess, more or less. And not that what we've been doing hasn't been good. I would hope for you guys, but there's room for improvement, I think. So.
Well, it's not just improve. It's like we kind of want to hear from you as well.
Yeah, exactly. We want to maybe not get too much of an ego like podcasters typically do because they want to control everything. You really want to be a people's show. You gotta let the people speak. So
you gotta let them say what they want to say.
Yeah.
So look out for that, you guys. I think we might start that next week, next Tuesday. I think Tuesday was the day, right, Michael?
Yeah. By the way, I might as well give you guys the good and bad news or whatever. Found out today, like literally an hour before the podcast, that I got fired.
Oh, no.
My cowardly boss decided to send one of the pizza delivery drivers with my last check and my T4 and tell me that I'm done because he didn't want to deal with me in person. We'll just put it that way. Yeah, so, but it was completely what do you call?
And you still showed up today.
Yeah, well.
Holy moly, I would have been. Oh my gosh.
Not to mention, I took since the beginning of the year, for the first 8 days here, I had one beer on the 1st of January, and then I had stopped drinking for the rest of the week, and I haven't had a drink since all year, and I'm probably gonna feel the need to go have a few self-pity beers, but it's like, oh look, I'm doing the right things, I'm doing good. Oh, but then it was it's just like a spurious unfair, illegal dismissal kind of thing. I didn't do anything wrong. He just doesn't like kind of some of the shit that I'm saying, complaining about a very toxic workplace.
I told you about leave that shit at home. That's
of
why.
Course, unfortunately, with the socialist politics, I feel like I need to maybe say something about this, just in brief. About we've been put in a catch-22 by the ruling class on purpose with that shit. In case anyone's fucking noticed, we are obviously not allowed to be ourselves, to speak our minds about things, and we think that it's to our best interest to go with that flow of, we know that we can't say what we need to say out loud at work. So you think that's to our benefit, to now we have complaints that need to be registered. Now we don't have our voice to do so. So, but of course, on the other side, does it make sense to fucking open your mouth when you know you're going to get fucking fired for it, which is exactly what happened? I didn't even like say, let's unionize kind of stuff. It was like, we have problems with sanitation, like cockroaches and shit. That's our fucking job, to make sure as a fucking restaurant that we're taking care of that shit, right? But no, we're not allowed to complain, right? So I guess
no,
give up on our standards as professionals, right?
No, let's keep the roaches and get rid of the person saying that we don't need roaches. That's disgusting. Lance said you guys are hardly on air, and that's because he works, and I take care of my mother, and you're right, we're hardly on air, and we've been talking about that, and
and we got problems with at this workplace I'm at, they decided the dishwasher broke, and let's just throw it out. Who needs a dishwashing machine in a fucking modern restaurant? Are you fucking kidding me? So then, of course, we don't really have a very sanitary environment that we're working with, because it takes too long for the one fucking dishwasher working. Other places I worked at have had 2 dishwashers, right? There's other ways to do this more professionally, right? This is just the kind of place that has been allowed to completely drift into the most unprofessional behavior I've ever seen kind of thing. And it's normal now because nobody ever pushed back, because we're not allowed to say anything, remember? So then we slip into this insanity. We become awful people and we justify it. Because in this economy, I can't afford to lose my job. I can't afford to fucking keep this kind of job. I need a job like that, like I need a fucking hole in my head, right? Like, and there's
sorry to hear that, Michael. And you didn't even say anything to me.
Right? I didn't have a chance to, right? But I'm saying cost of living goes up. I get paid minimum wage. No discount on the food. I have to pay full price for something I'm working, whatever. I'm gonna get hungry. I need to eat, whatever, right? So you're forced to pay out of your own pocket. Do I get tips, right? I don't even like tips. I want to fucking abolish tips. But do I need them? Yes. Not at this place, right? It's a garbage place to work. So I should.
Y'all have tips like that in Canada? Like you work off tips?
Some of us, yeah, right? It's a very important thing in the restaurant industry. It seems to be, from my observation in the last couple of years, one of the things that they are targeting as a necessary.
It's not like that in Europe.
Remove from us, a necessary benefit they have to take away in order to keep the fucking operation, the businesses running, because the restaurant industry, in case anyone hasn't noticed, is not viable anymore. The vast majority of restaurants are not making profits, so they have to come up with creative ways to cut us to the bone to make sure that they can keep making some kind of bullshit profit. Nobody can afford to go to a fucking restaurant anymore. I'm amazed at how so many people still go out, whatever. And then you have to get into the psychology of economics to understand or whatever. It's like it's called the lipstick effect. When things get really bad, instead of doing the smart thing, people act like a bunch of dumb fucks, the working class, and they throw away their money on shit they don't need. Right? Going out to buy food they can't afford. People do that all the fucking time. And now with Uber and shit, it's so much easier. People are being really fucking stupid. It's time to fight back, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to be the cowardly North Americans that we are, right? So, exactly. Like, these places are fucking money laundering businesses for like an Italian place like I'm working at. Like, I bet you these motherfuckers have some mafia shit going on. But they look so innocent. So fuck them. Anyway, that was not really, we're taking time away. Didn't really want to bring that up too much because I actually had a lot of interesting shit that I want to get into.
Well,
this personal shit really makes it hard to report on, right? So I'm going to deal with that tomorrow, I guess, right?
I was thinking about how tips were created through racism.
Exactly.
It's very fucking interesting.
Yep. And
but
nowadays...
Then we'll go on a tangent So
Everyone has to justify why it's so important for us, because with like how much, like, doesn't matter what skin color you are. Like if you're a cab driver, right? All these people need tips, or at least they say so. It's the blood money. Once you get it, whatever, you think that like this is a thing that you can challenge a lot of working class in the West about this, and they're very biased about it and pretend like they're oblivious. They say, well, I get where you're coming from about how we benefit from imperialism or whatever, but like things are really hard. I'm still a good person. You don't get to say I'm a bad person because I'm not objecting to the government like
turn
you
this
are.
on.
It's like, yes, I can, because it's very well established at this point that we don't do what we're supposed to prove that we're good people. So you don't get to claim that you are anymore, you know?
Yep. Golden Monarch, maybe you and Lance can talk in the Discord about this. Orange Man is making a fortune on crypto.
Yeah, Golden Monarch shared an interesting thing. I think there were some little rumors that maybe it was like Trump's kid or something. Somebody predicted the Maduro kidnapping thing on like one of these crypto betting websites, and they made a fortune because they opened up a little betting thing specifically about Maduro's going to lose power before January 31st. And then because nobody was aware that the bet was going on, this one person managed to clean up on this clearly insider trading of illegal fucking activity shit, right? But it's betting, so is it insider trading? I don't know. But
We are
it's
definitely
fucking
all over the place tonight.
That's what
And that's
crypto
fine.
allows,
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. If a restaurant isn't living up to the health and safety guidelines, then employees should be allowed to speak up about it without being penalized.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Apparently, that's idealism to the average person, right? We are so
You would think
apathetic in the West. That's all I can. That's my conclusion about that. Because none of these problems would exist if we had any fucking backbone and political will. But we would rather spend our time doing fucking whatever, chasing happiness, the pursuit of happiness, and never actually attaining it, because we don't want to pay attention to how politics is designed. Like the people in power in politics have designs and machinations designed to prevent us from achieving that happiness. But you go ahead and ignore the politics because it makes you feel better, right?
So I'm going to pull up what you had. I'll go back to Mr. Global. Like, we'll go back to that since you were already on this, and then we'll see where we land. We're all over the place, y'all. Like, forgive us.
We gotta make our way.
Please forgive us.
We gotta get off of Venezuela, like get the good points out, and then get to the other parts to try and tie it all together. So, let me get to this article here.
Let's go.
Reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm noticing a potential split between the Europeans and the Americans as to how to deal with this. And America's, as usual, going to force what they want. The Europeans are probably going to get disappointed. So this Urrutia guy, I maybe don't think is actually also going to be in power, but this is who the Europeans want, I'm pretty sure. And I think actually, just to finish that off, whatever, that speculation, I think actually the Americans don't want anyone in power. They want a power vacuum. So then they'll want all kinds of narrative about who might be in power, but for as long as possible, they want a power vacuum. That's my guess. So, this is from eltiempo.com. Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, the legitimate president of Venezuela, called to begin the reconstruction of the country. The diplomat went from being unknown to defeating Chavismo at the hands of Maria Corina Machado. He fled to Spain and suffered the kidnapping of his son-in-law. Oh, that poor man. I guess kidnapping is wrong, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Venezuelan Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia was a name that until 2024 was not known. I guess because he wasn't popular with the people. So because he's being installed as a puppet, right? But in a few months, he became the hope for change of an entire country by facing and beating Chavismo at the polls. They really love to just fucking say whatever they think that they can get away with, right? So this is unexpected for me, and of course I did not look for it. The 76-year-old former diplomat confessed to this newspaper when he discussed the antithesis of Chavismo, Madurismo, and the traditional politician. He's a cultured, honest family man without duplicity and without a hint of populism, or whatever. Yeah, that's how you know that he is none of those things. He's just not a socialist or whatever at this particular time in Venezuela or whatever. He's definitely a complete traitor to his people. A total of 7,443,584 people elected. No, they did not. They're just going to manufacture a narrative. Urrutia that day, who had never competed for a popularly elected office, compared to 3.3 million votes for Maduro, so they say. At least this is what they demonstrated with more than 80% of the minutes compiled by electoral witnesses, in which rest in Panama waiting to be returned to Caracas after the capture and departure of Maduro from power on Saturday, January 3rd. Who then proclaimed himself the legitimate president without ever showing the evidence. Without ever showing the evidence, this is bullshit, right? This is what they're writing. What is this written? They're like, to this day, they're still claiming that they provided no evidence that Maduro won the election, right? So they're just going to gaslight all the way, pedal to the floor. So it was brazen robbery, according to them. The opposition managed after 26 years.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. Hello there. Okay. The opposition managed after 26 years to demonstrate that the Bolivarian Revolution does not have the electoral support of the population, and that instead they had to opt for an authoritarian solution, so they say. But what is the people on the ground proving right now? Because they were unsuccessful at installing an American puppet, because Delcy Rodriguez is loyal to Maduro, as far as I can tell. So the people have proven that the people writing this article are full of shit, right? After 26 years, the people still support the revolution. And I think what you were saying about that oil exec guy,
Mr. Global,
was kind of hinting. We were talking about the data that he was mentioning.
mm-hmm.
What kind of goes unsaid about the hyperinflationary period, but Maduro gets elected, right? The things that he did fix the country, as far, like he was given a mess or whatever. He didn't manage to create a perfect scenario, but a lot of hard progress was won by the Maduro administration. They effectively dealt with the worst case scenario or whatever and did their best. They literally did a great deal to fix the situation for a lot of people. Now, of course, they still weren't able to save everyone, obviously, but you can't blame them for what the Americans have been doing to them with their sanctions all this time.
Ray has entered the chat.
They are illegal sanctions, right? So who is this?
I said Traore has entered the chat. You know, they tried to do a coup. They tried to do a coup against him, and it didn't work. And they're pissed about it.
And that's another thing.
You know, it's the same shit.
And that's the thing about the drug stuff too, right?
He's trying to do shit for his people.
It is quite literally with people like this Trump administration, it's always the opposite of what they say that is closer to the truth, or the truth. So before the Maduro regime, when they did have their right-wing puppets in power, was Venezuela more of a source country for cocaine? Yes, it was. After you get socialists in power in any country in South America, any country in the world, if they're an actual socialist government? They always fight an actual war on drugs. They actually, like China, actually reduce drug addiction in their societies because they understand that a healthy country, a healthy economy, cannot have that toxic shit. Okay. Same thing with the Traore in the Sahel states. In Africa now, there's data demonstrating that since those coup d'etats that they did, like revolutions, not color revolutions, the drug trade has had a hard time getting their drugs to Europe. So that's the thing, right?
It's also the same with those socialist countries that have free healthcare. Like they're incentivized to not feed their people things that would cause them harm, because then they would raise the prices of healthcare. Whereas in America, it's incentivized to feed us shit that we shouldn't, that's banned in all these other countries, because healthcare is a privatized institution. So they make more money the sicker we are. Hi, Rondo. Peace, 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 fam. I'm pulling your article back up because I figure you're going back to it.
Well, just for the sake of time, that article was getting into the weeds a little bit. So rather than try and read the whole thing to give it some context, I just kind of wanted to demonstrate like who this man is. So here's another article. Venezuelan opposition leader Gonzalez flies to Spain after arrest warrant. I kind of already mentioned this, but just to have some source material on it. So this is where Spain has really been like important thing about Venezuela and Spain to remember is Venezuela is making all these statements about how they're never going to be a colony ever again. Who were they a colony to? It was Spain. And so what is Spain up to this day? They're still trying to interfere in Venezuelan affairs, right? Have the candidate that the Spanish government wants in power in Venezuela. That is not respecting sovereignty. So the Spanish government has a nominally socialist government in power, but they are the false, fascist social democrats, pretending to be socialist. You know what I mean? So it's important to recognize the historical trend of who are the ones who claim to be socialists that serve imperial interests. And it seems pretty consistent that it's those social democrats that Stalin made that comment about being the left wing of fascism. They really always managed to prove him right, making it difficult for people to be objecting too hard to Stalinism. You know what I'm saying? So, so this article, September 8th, 2024, Venezuelan opposition Edmundo Gonzalez left for Spain overnight, was seeking asylum, officials said on Sunday, amid a mounting political and diplomatic crisis over the disputed results of July's election. Plane carrying Gonzalez, who has challenged President Nicolas Maduro's declaration of victory, had stopped off in Portugal, blah, blah, blah. Dramatic exit of the 75-year-old, seen by the U.S., the EU, and other powers in the region, imperialists, as the winner of the vote, came a week after Venezuelan authorities issued an arrest warrant for him, accusing him of conspiracy and other crimes. The problem with the extradition stuff is they'll just say, well, you can't, that's politically motivated charges. But if you try and kind of terroristically overthrow a government, that's not exactly politically motivated crimes. They are legitimate. Like, if you impeach Trump, you can impeach him for terrorism, and that's not politically motivated charges that they could dismiss as you just want to impeach him for political reasons, whatever. No, you commit terrorism or whatever, you get to be charged for that. That's not political offense. You know what I'm saying? But there's a whole lot of things about the legal precedents that they make, they then want to unmake for whatever reason. So that's why you got to kind of dismiss the legalists who say there's a legal solution here. So, I don't know how much we want to read off of this too. I'm just sort of saying, I'm trying to establish the point that that this is the kind of what they do. And this is also, there was, you can see the pattern in Africa too. There was like a coup in Guinea-Bissau, and the leader fled to Nigeria. And so just because a coup happened doesn't mean that that leader's like totally like useless to them, like a Guaido or whatever. They're hoping to hold them in the wings and then reinstall them, whatever, force them onto the people eventually. And so we should pay attention to those leaders in Africa who get deposed or whatever, to see if they get reinstalled and where they went in the meantime. And so who is reinstalling them? Because the interesting thing about Guinea-Bissau is the claim about a narco-terrorist state, whatever. The thing about the coke traffic to Europe, Guinea-Bissau seems to be a narco state that the Americans have set up, like they're trying to do to Venezuela. They're trying to maintain the rich people. Coke is the rich man's drug, right? So they are, as much as they are wanting to control the profits from the drug trade, they're literally also addicted to the substance. So when things disrupt those trade routes, they go through all kinds of imperialistic trouble, even though it's not really economically worth it to them. But psychologically, because they're addicted, whatever, they will do what they can. They'll move mountains to get that fucking coke where they want it, right? Then after it goes to Europe, where does it go? Israel, right? But so that's kind of what I want to take the conversation to, instead of like wasting time with this shit, right? So why don't we?
Well, you know what I want to do right now? I want to say, what up, Bad Cookies?
Hey, Bad Cookies, good to see you.
Good to see you. Mousy. All right, so should I go back to Mr. Global, or?
Yeah, go ahead and
How
play
you
some of
want
that
it?
guy. We'll see what else he has to say.
Okay. It's like 2 videos. Okay, so here we go.
Well, the OPEC 2020 deal is now the second dumbest thing Donald Trump ever did. Yeah. So we go to Venezuela, which is a founding member of OPEC, and seize their country and their oil. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. All on this notion that U.S. oil companies are going to go down there and get rich, even though they've already said, we're not going down there. And you don't have to go back very far to see how this could turn out. Just go back to 2018, the last time Donald Trump got OPEC to increase production, just like he did this time. Because it makes MAGA happy. They think we're drill baby drill when we're actually just getting more oil from Russia and Iraq. Yeah, that's what's really lowering our gas prices, not us. Now, he got them to do that on the promise that he would put sanctions on Iran, and as soon as he did it, he lifted sanctions on Iran and crashed the entire global oil market. That's what got us the OPEC 2020 deal. That's what got us $5 gas. OPEC's revenge against Donald Trump. And it will come again very soon. Donald Trump playing chess with OPEC is not good for us. OPEC is like that Magnus guy that wins all the chess world championships, and Trump is like, I don't know, Sling Blade?
I don't know that reference.
I don't know what he's
Maybe it's
talking
Forrest Gump. Yeah, stupid.
I don't know that reference though, but
Maybe someone in the chat knows
But-
what Steam Blade is or whatever he said. So. But I don't know.
Then I want to go to this, and then I'm done because this is harkens back to what I was saying about. Well, I'll let him tell you.
Well, I would just say about the OPEC stuff. We are in one of those periods where all the old arrangements seem to be kind of coming apart. They've just kind of run their course. So the whole like existential, like I would say OPEC is in an existential crisis where the viability of that organization going forward, when it's like the UN Security Council, like there's really only 1 or 2 people making the decisions there, right? It's not really working like it was intended to. So like Venezuela, I think needs to exit OPEC because it's only done them harm to try and pretend like they have consensus with the Saudi Arabians and the UAE.
Right.
Same thing with Iran, you know?
Bad Cookies is saying Sling Blade was Billy Bob Thornton's first movie. It's about a mentally challenged man, which is why he said Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. Now it makes more sense. So I'm going to
probably
play
an
this
ableist
one,
kind of movie. Who knows?
which Billy Bob Thornton, very much so. Okay, so I'm going to play this one.
So, wow. Trump says U.S. government may reimburse oil companies for rebuilding Venezuela's infrastructure.
Ding, ding, ding.
Help the oil companies.
Ding,
Hey,
ding, ding.
you thought it was a good idea to vote for a businessman. Now your health insurance premiums are doubling and tripling. People can't get help with food. Everyone's being thrown off daycare assistance because of a YouTuber in Minnesota. Every day and week, we continually see this administration try to strip and pull more things away from the American people to further and to help business and corporate interests, when it's literally the corporations that have destroyed the middle class and made it to where so many people need help. We're going to help those corporations some more. How would American oil companies producing more oil in Venezuela benefit a single American?
How?
Make it make
Somebody
sense.
answer that. Listen, you wanted a businessman. And what do businessmen say? No offense. It's just business.
Oh.
Yes. Thanks.
Thanks. You fucked up. You fucked up. The American taxpayers are going to be subsidizing these oil rigs to build the infrastructure up for the oil. And tell me how much money are y'all going to see from that? The same amount of money we saw from Doge.
Yep. It's just sad how empty those words have been proven, right? They keep saying it with their straight face. It's just business, right? No, it's not. We all know that's like the biggest understatement of all time. You know, it's a lot more than just business. There's a lot more to life than money. You know, that kind of stuff. I hate when people say money makes the world go round, because you know it's gravity. But every time someone points that out to you, you're ridiculous. You idiot. You know money makes the world go round. No, it doesn't fucking, not at all. Never will, right? But you go ahead and live in your fantasy world thinking that it actually does, right?
Cowboy Kitty is here.
Good to see you.
Shout out to Cowboy Kitty.
Everyone's missed us a little bit. Sorry we were gone so long. Good to see you all. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and okay, and good luck to your sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we
haven't heard about that for a little while.
Working on that.
Sometimes it's hard to share the news if it's not good news, kind of thing. So, yeah, did we have a good break? Sean's asking. Kind of. You know, I had a bit of more of a solitary Christmas this year, but I'm not really looking to celebrate it anymore. And eventually, you're gonna have to sleep in the bed you made, right? So
I just got a lot of rest.
Yeah, still got some. My kids got had a good time. They got to go see their family up north. Just yesterday we went and visited my uncle, so they got their presents and stuff. It's not just because I'm not celebrating it doesn't mean they didn't get to have their Christmas, right? So. But that's one of the things too, is like it's annoying about how there's like this obligation to have a good Christmas or a good New Year's, right? It's like Jack was saying earlier at the beginning, Jacqueline, I'm glad it's over, right? So.
Very glad. Can I play something funny before we move back into the heavy stuff?
Yeah, I think maybe do you want to pivot to Somaliland for now? Because
and while
actually,
I'm playing this, you can pull up find what you want to do.
A Russian tanker in the Atlantic we want to talk about if you haven't heard about that. So we'll have to talk about that before we move on. Might have to do a long show tonight, but let's play this video.
Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. If the whole world was LA, Venezuela is Diddy's house. Largest proven oil reserves. But it's not even about oil, it's about drugs. Oil happens to be there. Oh my God, what a coincidence. They're like, we're just here for the drugs, man. Oh, you got oil? Oh, shit, what's up? That's good, man. They claim Venezuela is sending cocaine. First of all, not true, okay? It's Mexico. Okay, sorry. Secondly, they're claiming that the problem is people are ODing on the cocaine because it's laced with fentanyl. Fine, go after the fentanyl. They're saying, well, the fentanyl is coming from Venezuela. No, it's not. It's also coming from Mexico. Sorry, I'm not trying to pick on Mexico, just going with what I read. The chemicals that make fentanyl come from China. Some also from India, shout out, okay? And then it's cooked in Mexico, which just sounds like a racist American joke. We get the parts from China on the cheap. India comes through with the tech support. And then the real work is done by Mexicans in the kitchen. I'm not making that joke. This is how fentanyl is made, okay? And then we're the dumb Americans who are like, yum, fenty. Yummy, yummy, yummy. They're trying to use words to intimidate us. They're saying they're narco-terrorists, which as a Middle Eastern person, I find that offensive. That's what you used to call us. You can't just give away our slur. If they're narco-terrorists, am I just an original terrorist? Like what? Am I a standard terrorist 1.0 in OT? Narco-terrorist. You can just put a word in front of terrorists because it's a different race of people. Are Asians math terrorists? That's not cool. And of course, white people, domestic terrorists, right? They're just acting like they can just go to a country and just take it over. This is the problem with calling the United States America. We see other places in the world that also have America in the title, and we're like, oh, that's ours, I think. Oh, that's just South America, right? That's us. All we have to do is cross the Gulf of America to get to the south part of America. The United States really is the Diddy of the world. We like to control everybody. Sure, we help some countries, but we also molest them. Some countries we hate so much that we have them taken out, pretend like we didn't do it. We're addicted to oil. And our biggest enemy, inflation, which right now is 50 cents. And I know 50 cents.
Nice.
Just a little hot hee.
Yeah, I forget what that guy's name is, but he's usually pretty funny.
Sammy Obed or Obed, something like that.
Okay. Cookie saying, yeah, very true, whatever, something about,
So you ready?
yeah. Money, the
If
crux
you're
of
not
evil.
ready, I got another funny. I like to put funny stuff in there every now and again.
That's okay. I kind of need a bit of a laugh, whatever. Been very, like, that's where I was saying I tried to sober up, and then what happens, like, the second day I'm sober, whatever, Maduro kidnapped, right? It's like really hard.
Nigeria bombed, all kinds of shit. It's like, oh, holy shit.
And then if you want to just keep watching the Ukraine war going on in the background, that's a great little,
And we're trying to coup Burkina Faso. Just what the fuck?
yeah. And then Somaliland, whatever, we're gonna see that's gonna blow up too. You think that what they're trying to recognize that place?
Because they're trying to find a place to dispel Palestinians to.
You don't think that's going to create a whole bunch of violence because a bunch of people are not going to let that happen? So they know that, right? So that's where everyone's kind of been paying attention. We see 2026 is going to be worse. I don't know about way worse because 2025 was fucking awful, but it's not getting any better. It's definitely getting worse. So
yeah, because I'll say it on the other side, but here's something else funny while you're setting up your stuff.
They getting too close with this stuff, man. We got to do something drastic right now. Give me that headset. Y'all in position? Strike Venezuela right now. Nick, strike! Give me that control. I do it my damn self. Boom! Yeah! Say what? His wife there. She'll bring her ass too. Hold on. Oh, shit. Ah. Take her. Answer no question. If I find out you answering questions, I'm going to put your ass on the front line and I'm going to drop another strike.
There's currently no leader in Venezuela. What are you going to do?
Well, we're going to run that thing until we find somebody who will do what the hell we say.
Do you think Maria Enchilada Tequila would make a good leader for the country? Or
nobody worry about her.
Yeah, Maria Enchilada
She
Tequila.
got no respect. Next. I tell you what. Mexico better not close their eyes. They better sleep with one eye open. Them strikes on the way. If they are playing, I got the button right here. Say I want. Okay. They getting too close with this stuff, man.
What do you call it? I
what do you call it? I don't know.
What do you call the lady? I forgot what he called the lady.
I don't think we said hi to Jimmy Pessiol. Good to see you. Been a little while. What's up?
We did.
My bad. But yeah, I was.
When the water spills, they give you war.
I kind of missed a little bit of that, but that was pretty funny. Yeah.
It's 2026. 6. Yes, absolutely. All right, so here we go. You set up?
So,
yeah, there it is. Maria Enchilada Tequila.
well, that was well played.
Oh my gosh, that was funny.
So, if you haven't heard about this happening in the background of that whole Venezuela tension, it is kind of interesting. there's been a tanker that they've been trying to apprehend for like two weeks or whatever, maybe 3 weeks now, but they finally apprehended a couple of days ago. So Russia files diplomatic request asking U.S. to stop pursuing oil tanker originally bound for Venezuela. They decided to ask really, really nicely because they really had a lot of power here to, stop the Americans' illegal actions in the international waters, right? So, but what America's doing by trying to cut off what they're calling the shadow fleet of the Russia, Iran, and China is they are really forcing extremely confrontational, like Cold War style. This reminds me, this situation with this tanker in the Atlantic, it reminds me of the situation, the Lusitania that got sank, that dragged the Americans into the war against the Germans or whatever. That was like a PSYOP thing, whatever, false flag attack back in the day. So this is very concerning to see this happening, right? The American Coast Guard going way the fuck out to arrest tankers that are almost like off the coast of Ireland and shit. That's not your fucking jurisdiction. So, but what do the Russians do? They ask nicely, leave us alone, please. But then don't poke the bear, right? See what happens. So, Russia filed a formal diplomatic request that the United States stop pursuing an oil tanker originally bound for Venezuela that has evaded U.S. custody for almost 2 weeks. And this was written on January 2nd, January 8th, so it was evaded for almost 3 weeks. Two sources familiar with the matter told CNN. The démarche sent to the State Department on New Year's Eve comes as the vessel called the Bella 1 appeared on Russia's official register of ships under a new name. It is unclear if the diplomatic request, first reported by the New York Times, will halt the U.S. efforts to interdict the oil tanker, which we now know it definitely has not, because they have successfully interdicted the tanker, which was initially headed for Venezuela before turning around to avoid seizure by the U.S. Coast Guard. They also interdicted a second tanker called the Sofia closer to the coast of Venezuela. I think that one was also maybe ultimately run by the Russians, but I don't quote me on it. What was interesting about this tanker was partly why they couldn't catch them for 2 weeks is because they changed the name of the boat and like painted on a Russian flag. It was under like a Panama flag, and then they, like from that Lord of War movie or whatever.
I feel like I kind of heard about this.
Yeah, if you've seen the Lord of War movie, they had a scene in that movie where they did they literally, they went from fiction to reality in this weekend or whatever, where this couple weeks ago, where they changed the name and the flag that the boat was flying under to evade arrest by the Americans. And what it made it problematic is now you're going to arrest a Russian vessel instead of a Panama vessel, which like ups the stakes diplomatically. So Russia's request comes as the Trump administration continues intense efforts to end the Ukraine war. Trump spoke twice with President Putin in the past week. It was currently in the North Atlantic, but now let's pivot to this other article I have as far as kind of to finish the story a little bit. I'll share this tab instead. This is from January 7th, so yesterday. Venezuela will ship sanctioned oil to U.S. indefinitely, sources say. This is a very concerning development. It seems like the gunboat diplomacy, strong-arm coercion has, to some degree, kind of worked, because they kidnapped Maduro, and now Venezuela has agreed to turn over 30 million to 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil, which will be sold at market prices by the U.S. So, as much as we want to say this is a total catastrophic failure, this whatever special military operation of the Americans, seems like they managed to get sort of some kind of partial victory here. They're literally just going to sell stolen oil, and everyone's going to kind of look the other way. So I wonder what the market rate will be, because the market's going to have a reset about what's happening here. So, but anyway, U.S. sanctions will be selectively rolled back as part of the agreement. Oh, okay, sure. Like that should be allowed, right? You can apply them whenever you want. and give exceptions whenever you want, and we're all just going to go with it. Venezuela will ship sanctioned oil to the U.S. indefinitely. Sources close to the White House told CNBC on Wednesday. I think that indefinitely part is their propaganda. For now, they are. Is that
Black
Tasha right here in the back? Hello, Tasha.
She gone.
No worries.
What up, Mike? I heard you. Dang.
Hey, what's up?
Why your voice travel like that?
Because I'm a G.
Because you a G. Because she a G.
Good to hear you. Hear from you. So, Trump said Tuesday Venezuela will turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil, which will be sold at market prices. That money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. Never believe anything this man ever says ever again. The 50 million barrels are only the first tranche, and shipments will continue indefinitely, the sources say. U.S. sanctions against Venezuela will be selectively rolled back to enable the transportation and sale of the oil on global markets, the sources said. So how are you benefiting the Venezuelan people if you're selectively rolling them back just for this fucking special occasion? Then you're going to put them back on. How is that to the benefit of anybody, right? It's not. Proceeds from the oil sales will settle in U.S.-controlled accounts, the sources said, with the money released back to Venezuela at the discretion of the U.S., they said. Very good for the Venezuelan people to have you dole out their money like you're their fucking mommy giving them an allowance, right? So that's enough of that, right? But you get the point. Very not good.
I think
So,
I think it's very interesting. I just want to. I think it's very interesting that we went in there under the gaze of, oh, we have a warrant for his arrest or something, and Bibi Netanyahu is just strolling through the United States like he owned this motherfucker. And with that being said, I want to play this.
muted.
Us.
Hold on.
Statute doesn't apply to Israel or the United States or France or Germany or Great Britain.
He named every colonizing nation there is. You heard that, right? Okay, here we go. So the International Criminal Court and the United Nations don't apply to them. That's what they set that up for everybody else, is what he's basically saying. Here we go.
Statute doesn't apply to Israel or the United States or France or Germany or Great Britain because it wasn't conceived to come after us. Statute doesn't.
It wasn't conceived to come after us. We created it for them.
I'm not allowed to be hoisted by my own petard. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, I just can't wait for these people to meet their comeuppance or whatever, right? But I guess I'll be very depressed if it never happens, you know. But I feel like these people have, like, they're really testing the whole FAFO concept, right? We better stop talking about FAFO if these people never find out. Because it doesn't mean shit if they don't, right? Nice.
You read that.
That's a good comment for just the silent comedy for people to be observing. We don't need to quite say that one out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we need to move on here. Let's talk a little bit about Somaliland. Sorry, awkward silence. Let me find a tab to share here. I don't know if we have like much of a good pivot for you, so we're just gonna have to do a smash cut, whatever. Sorry, gotta find my link.
While are you doing that, I'll just play some stuff.
Sure.
To keep people motivated.
We don't want them to impose a Yankee government on us. We are free and sovereign. We are a people with guarantees in the Bolivarian Constitution. We are a free people, free and sovereign. Donald Trump is not going to take our oil. Rubio is not going to govern us. We have a president and a vice president who will assume for now, but our president is Nicolas Maduro.
Here is the great motorized force of Caracas. We took to the streets of Caracas to tell the world to raise their voice about the camping of our president, and we won him back, damn it. Long live the homeland, and long live Maduro.
Just a little picker-upper there. They're not playing at Caracas.
I see we got the Maria Enchilada Tequila has graced us with her presence.
Y'all be so quick.
Yeah, Kitty's hilarious.
Oh, no. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good to see you, Rondo. How's it going? So yeah, let's move right along because we're already kind of halfway through. So from April 25th, 2025 by Dean Henderson Substack. I'm not sure if you guys know who this guy is, but I was reading this article. It seems like a good source to be following. I bet you Indy knows who this guy is, but I got to kind of, well, maybe now that I'm unemployed or whatever, I got more time to explore a lot more independent media and find the real sources that I should be sharing instead of this fucking CNN, NBC shit. So anyway, in March 2012, the Sudan Tribune reported that Ethiopian troops would hand over the recently captured Somali towns of Beledwin and Badoya, which had been strongholds of Al-Qaeda, allied Al-Shabaab Islamist militants. Oh yeah, by the way, the whole thing about the narco-terrorists or whatever, we all know it's the inverted truth or whatever. It's the CIA gives Al-Qaeda drugs and money to do terrorism, and that's what happens, okay? In case you didn't know. So, what's that thing? Accuse your enemy of that which you are guilty of. That's literally what's happening. So, to the African Union mission in Somalia or whatever, sorry, that was a really broken sentence. Ethiopian troops would hand over the recently captured Somali towns to the African Union mission in Somalia. There we go. Ethiopia had sent hundreds of troops to Somalia in December in 2012 to help Mogadishu fight Al-Shabaab. Western intelligence agencies used these same Islamists to split Somalia into 3 different nations, which is what we have now. So I just found it very interesting to, maybe I'm starting too far back, given a long-winded historical materialist analysis, but I think nobody knows this from what I can tell about. Like, they just kind of hear Somalia in the news lately, and they don't really understand what the fuck happened to that country, right? It's the U.S. with their terrorism. So on September 10th, 1992, the U.S. sent 2,000 Marines and 4 warships led by the USS Tarawa to lurk off the Somali coast in the Gulf of Aden, which separates Somalia from Saudi Arabia. So I see a historical parallel right there, okay? What they're doing is not exactly new, right? It's just slightly novel this time. So Somalia had always been recognized as a highly strategic piece of real estate, just like Venezuela. Its president, Siad Barre, had played favorite to both the Soviets and the United States at different times, even allowing U.S. rapid reaction fallback forces to base there. In 1982, General Alexander Haig, who briefly stepped in as self-imposed president when Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley, emphasized the strategic significance of Somalia to the U.S., saying the country would be vital to our Persian Gulf access. The U.S. had cut aid to Somalia in 1989 and reduced its 3 swimming pool embassy staff from 450 to 30. In January 1991, Barre was overthrown by his defense minister, General Mohammed Farah Aidid. The U.S. embassy was burned to the ground as Somalis expressed their outrage at decades of U.S. support for the brutal Barre. U.S. support for a brutal dictator. Go figure. And then what happens? They overthrow the dictator. And then what does the U.S. do? They make sure that they destroy the national liberation movement. That is legitimate, okay? They have to install a counter-revolution every time a real revolution happens. So that's what's happened, right? General Aidid was a nationalist, and U.S. hawks began looking for a pretext to intervene. Columnist William Nykirk articulated the new interventionist attitude which prevailed in U.S. foreign policy circles after the Gulf War, when he wrote on December 6, 1992, "The world cops shall be walking the international beat every day, doing preventative work in the world community." And they had that maybe mentality at the beginning of the 90s, and then there was all kinds of disaster from a lot of blowback from this atrocious, authoritarian, totalitarian kind of attitude, right? And after now we see like the Trump administration people, they see the end of their empire if they don't have this kind of way of acting again. They're bringing back this, it's like come full circle, right? It's like the 90s all over again kind of thing, because the geopolitical tensions are at another extreme fulcrum, whatever you want to call it, right? So I was actually playing around with some ideas. I feel like when we're talking about multipolarity, it's a little bit not quite accurate for the stage that we're in. I feel like maybe we could call it like ambipolarity would be a better word, because power seems to not exactly know where it's headed. I mean, a lot of people will kind of dispute this. When we look at Russia and China and Iran, the BRICS countries, they seem like very well-established poles, right? But I feel like the multipolarity concept has a bit, we want to kind of attach this with the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie a little bit, right? The only thing that's going to make that shift to the BRICS really happen is the capital flight of the bourgeoisie to the BRICS nations. So power right now, the wealth of the people who have accumulated enough wealth to have actual power, they're trying to figure out where they want to go with their power. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the winner. So we have like a kind of ambiguous multipolarity. So that's why I think ambipolarity is a better word. But I don't know if you want to chime in on that or.
I wanted to say hey to Fiddleford is here, and then Michael, Chief 18 Wheels, coming from Truth Zones podcast, is in the house.
Good to see you. I'm not sure if he's one of the more socialist-minded viewers over there, but
maybe not. Don't matter.
I did hear Truth Zone was reporting about the Venezuela situation. I thought his analysis, his take on it was actually pretty good. He was kind of being anti-imperialist about it, so I appreciate that.
Oh, from the capitalist podcast?
Yeah, but he was like, when we're talking about, he was like saying this is not going to be good for anybody, right? And he was pushing back against some people who are like, I want to be on the winning side. I don't care what the morality of what happened in Israel. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to be on the winning side. That's really lowbrow thinking, man. Right?
Wow.
Anyway.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
that's
it's unfortunate. Yeah.
Considering
people are advocating against their own interests like that without realizing.
I mean, not even that. Like they think. I mean, the death toll is. Can I just play this real quick?
Yeah.
Because the death toll is rising, but this is what it was a couple of days ago.
We removed Maduro from power. We killed 40 people.
More than that.
We killed an 80-year-old woman, someone's grandmother, with shrapnel. And this is the thing about Americans and Europeans that I, as an American with European heritage, find so distasteful. You do not value the lives of non-Western people at all, period. When they came back, the American government, given their press conference, no casualties. We did it without any casualties at all, forgetting that they murdered 40 people in cold blood.
More than that.
Including an 80-fucking-year-old woman. And this is when I mean, this American mentality, this European mentality, this mentality Americans have that came with them from Europe, that other people's lives don't matter. Only Western lives matter. How is it 2026 and we are still playing by that rule? Every life in Venezuela matters to an equal degree that a life in America matters. The life of one U.S. soldier is not worth 100 million Viet Cong. What are we talking about here?
What the fuck are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
What happened? I don't know. Yeah. But also,
So,
I would like to
anyway, I hope
mention
that
people
put
are
it
going to
in
kind
some
of,
kind of
they're
perspective.
going to talk about the 80. But before the 80 people were killed in this insanely illegal operation, this declaration of war by action instead of words, there's 104 people that were killed, allegedly drug trafficking terrorists or whatever, just random people bombed in boats in the Caribbean. So that's where I was a little upset. They have a complete right to bomb the fuck out of the American Navy in the Caribbean right now. That would be self-defense. The United Nations has acknowledged that. But the problem is, they have decided, for whatever reason, maybe it was the better choice, to not engage. So they waive their right to self-defense when they do that. And that is that's the precedent that the Trump administration's trying to set. And that's that's that appeasement that I see the parallel to World War II, that Britain, they taught me in history class when I was a kid that Britain's mistake, Neville Chamberlain, whatever prime minister, was to appease the Germans until it was too late. And then the situation was way worse because they didn't step in when it was time. And that's what we're fucking seeing all over again, except it's China and Russia that are appeasing America like fucking morons. Stand up for yourselves, whatever, for the rest of the world before it's too late, because you're going to end up with a worse tactical situation because you chose not to act when it made more sense.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Okay, because we wanted to mention this. I'm glad you said that, because we were talking about, like, for Venezuela, if China and Russia is your ally, then fuck. Who needs friends?
Exactly.
You did nothing.
Yeah. Well, they're not done nothing, whatever. There will be a reciprocation, but it's going to be economic warfare, psychological warfare that they do, because they're not ready to do open war with the U.S., even though the U.S. is ready to do open war with anyone that fucks with them, right? So it's the thing about,
you cannot spread.
You don't want to fight doesn't mean you get to not fight. Someone's going to come fucking pick a fight with you. Guess what? You are fighting now, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
If a bully is pushing you around, are you just gonna take the blows, or are you gonna fight back?
How many
Like,
times
at some point you gotta fight back?
China looks weak about Taiwan, right? Because they keep talking a big game, whatever. This is ours. This is ours. This is ours. Prove it. You're not going to. So I guess it's not really yours, right? I mean, you want to let the Americans establish their precedent. That's what you're doing by not. And then we get kind of flack if I, like, Cookie's saying he appreciates my righteous anger, right? But someone like I watching Nick Cruz on RBN, they like to kind of condescend to Western leftists who are expecting Russia and China to come save us. No, that's not what I'm saying when I'm saying that they are tactically making bad decisions by not acting, right? By being appeasing the Americans, right? It's not about saving us. It's about saving them, right? They're not even going to, like, they are jeopardizing their own ideology, whatever. They don't seem very Marxist-Leninist, whatever, if what they keep doing is more reformism over revolutionism, whatever, right? So.
Sean says, I tend to agree with him, Michael. He says, you need to record some of your angry rants and post them as premieres.
Maybe. I don't know if
that shit would be hilarious.
That would also be like a bit of a demagogic kind of thing, I think, appealing to people's emotions. So. Well,
I think Tosh should do her angry rants too. They're hilarious. I just kind of, I don't, yeah.
Well, it's not maybe supposed to be hilarious.
You guys should do them.
I just wish it would accomplish more. It just feels like venting, like get blown off some steam, because that's really all that is like. Nothing is changing by me being angry on air.
Well, I feel like people who feel the same way, it helps them let off some steam to know they're not the only ones that are that angered by what they're feeling. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know about right now or whatever, but we can talk about that another day.
Look,
Lance.
Tasha's, I tell her to calm down. She said, I hate these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, calm down, stop screaming.
It's the way that they're trying to go after people for hate speech and shit is like, maybe we shouldn't express our hate. We should be cowardly and like I was saying, like not use our voice when we're supposed to be complaining. I think it's important to reclaim hate on some kind of level, even though I like have my thing about Schadenfreude not good, but we are allowed to hate these monsters. It is healthy psychologically to hate these people. It is not healthy to suppress your hate for these people. Okay? Don't think that love is going to save the world like that, or whatever. And hate is a human emotion that's been part of our human experience for like millions of fucking years. So this modern idea about suppressing this hatred, eradicate your hatred, has no place in this home. You see those signs out anywhere? I don't know if they got them up down there, but no, hate is real or whatever. It's always going to have a home in your heart or whatever. Like, it's not unnatural, right? If we manage to get rid of these kinds of awful people and actually have some kind of communist utopia or whatever, maybe we don't even need hate. But we're nowhere near that. So,
not to get off the subject, but isn't that what they religion is for?
Right.
To suppress your normal feelings of what the fuck is wrong with you, and like, you know, like that eye for an eye feeling. Like, who are you talking to? That fucking find out feeling in the back of your head. They're like, you're supposed to turn the other cheek and forgive. I ain't forgiving shit.
No, you Christian
No,
Zionists,
I want all the smoke.
You have no cheeks left to turn, right? You guys just bent around, you bent over, and you showed your last two cheeks, and I don't want to see it anymore. Okay.
Not your last two cheeks. You stand up. Don't bend over.
Yeah.
That was a joke. All right, what else you got?
I was in the middle of reading something there about. I was trying to give maybe I was giving too much of
put it back on stage.
Background information, but trying to get to the more modern. I think it's important to explain like the history of Somalia a little bit. So let's just read some of this, and then we'll get to talking about the military bases and ports that are so important, right?
Sure.
So the UN Security Council held a summit in January 1992, during which it was decided that global peacekeeping operations, quite congruent with both Nykirk's World Cops concept and the report from Iron Mountain, no idea what that is, should be deployed around the world. But that's interesting that the UN Security Council was in alignment with the US's unipolar World Cop kind of concept. And now everyone wants to turn to international law to save us. Well, you want to condemn whatever regime for rape and torture and murder. Well, what have we documented UN peacekeepers doing? Right?
We just saw what international law has to say. That's not for them.
No.
That's for the brown and black people. Yeah, that's not for the white people.
Exactly. So the UN is like the enemy of the people. And if you don't know that, you might be like a white supremacist or something.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. So, today, back in 1992 or whatever, 40,000 UN peacekeepers from 61 countries serve on 4 continents. President Clinton heartily embraced the idea, saying, "We must do more than talk about a new world order. Now it's the old new world order. Hopefully this soon to be
What does that even mean?
Old world order." What's that?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It just means
it's the old new world order. What the fuck is that?
What I'm saying, the old new world order is they were talking about this new world order thing was a thing that like Bush and Clinton and them, they were really, it was like this thing that the inner circles of the elite, this like big grand plan that they had, they seem to have implemented it. Now we've lived through it, and now it's kind of falling apart, right? There's the new world order now is the BRICS order that's trying to emerge. So this is the old new world order, the unipolar end of America at the end of the Cold War was the New World Order, right? So, but that was like a big conspiracy term, right? But it came from them ruling class themselves, right? So there's probably been a psyop the whole time, right? But this is interesting. It's they're talking about the UN peacekeeping mission in Somalia. So who are the troops that were doing that, right? In Somalia, the UN launched Operation Restore Hope with troops from Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Egypt, and Nigeria participating. The Saudis too sent elite forces. The Pope called the intervention a moral duty. Many third world countries, a moral duty, really? So yeah, fuck you, Pope. Many third world countries starved for cash, eagerly sent troops who were well paid to keep the peace. So the New World Order of the Americans was to get the third world countries, the colonized countries, to send their troops to fight for their own neo-colonization. Sound familiar?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
He's talking about the Monroe Doctrine. So I think this might be a good. May I just jump in to so we could explain it to the chat and to ourselves, and then we can get back to your
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because this is important. So here we go. So how do I exit?
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
See it? Okay. So we're talking about James Monroe. You know, the President James Monroe. His message to Congress. During the president's customary message to Congress on December 2nd, 1823, Monroe expressed the basic tenets of what would later become known as the Monroe Doctrine. According to Monroe's message, drafted largely by Adams, the old world and the new world were fundamentally different and should be two different spheres of influence. The United States, for its part, would not interfere in the political affairs of Europe or with existing European colonies in the Western Hemisphere. The American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintained, are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for colonization by any European powers. Monroe continued. Any attempt by a European power to exert its influence in the Western Hemisphere would therefore be seen by the United States as a threat to its security. I find this very interesting because when they're now talking about taking over Greenland, which is a Dutch colony, and they reference the Monroe Doctrine as the reason why we have rights over Greenland.
Really?
You see what I'm saying?
I find that interesting. You try and extrapolate the consequences of if they actually try and go after Greenland. Is not Denmark a part of the European Union and NATO? So
it is, which makes it really messy.
Alliance? It has to end a NATO alliance for them to actually go for Greenland. That seems to be the only conclusion I can draw. Someone
exactly.
Tell me some other way that's going to happen.
It's very convoluted and messy, and I can't figure out like how do they expect this to work. But the United States is using the Monroe Doctrine to supersede NATO basically, right. And saying, well, Greenland is in the Western Hemisphere, and if we don't touch anything in Europe, you're not supposed to touch anything over here. Basically, he's trying to say that that's why he wants Canada to be part of the United States. He wants to take over the entire Western Hemisphere. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah. Is there like so far, like there seems to be like an unknown connection between the Monroe Doctrine and the New World Order rhetoric? So like that's what they mean when they're talking about New World Order? They were making a reference back to that, or is that maybe just a presentism?
Well, when you were saying the old world, and we can go back and read what you were saying about the old world versus the new world. Because the New World Order says the New World Order is the Monroe Doctrine.
I'm curious now. I'm glad you brought that up because now I want to go look into that after the show.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Something just like snapped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, wait! I think I know what he's referencing. Let me look that up real quick."
It's just like the multipolar stuff. I looked that up, and what came up when I was looking into it is it's basically this thing called the Primakov doctrine that the Russians came up with in the 90s, I think. So it's amazing how this stuff it's been in motion for all these years, and it all kind of comes to a head at this particular time for whatever reason. So.
Why is our chat is undefeated?
That's just priceless.
Undefeated.
Oh my god!
But let me pull up your thing. Okay, so now that we have a basic understanding of that, right? So now go back and reread what you were saying. So now we're looking at it through a different lens.
Well, so the Monroe Doctrine is actually, I think I've heard other people have mentioned, it's kind of a retreat from this global COP kind of unipolar attitude. So
exactly.
About asserting American dominance.
NATO is not.
But I also think it might be a red herring because they're talking up a big storm about the Monroe Doctrine. But this is maybe kind of what I'm trying, like maybe a little bit thesis that I'm putting forward, positing here would be, if you look at what they're doing in Somalia and around they're brewing up a conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. You got to look at the sea lanes. That is not the Monroe Doctrine retreat to the west. They are still trying to have their cake and eat it too. So what are they really up to? Because
that's what we're trying to find out, aren't we?
I feel like if you do the
it's
math,
our job to try to figure this shit out, huh?
Yeah, I think if you do the math, if they really just go full in on this Monroe Doctrine, that will give the world to China, and they will not actually be able to maintain the Monroe Doctrine. The American dollar will collapse. South America will be free to rebel. So I think it's ultimately a bluff. But I could be wrong. Either way, they do want to reassert authority in South America.
He says too.
Part of their broader plan for reasserting authority over the rest of the world. Like they would have given up on Israel.
I mean, he's mentioned they've definitely mentioned that the entire Western Hemisphere should be under American control. They've definitely said that on camera. So you kind of lost me with that comment, but I can't remember what you just said. I can't remember the comment you said, but they've definitely mentioned that they Stephen Miller, his crazy ass.
Right.
His crazy ass is like one of his is in his ear. So if America has the entire Western Hemisphere, and then Israel, which is America technically, it's unreal, is trying to they've said for a long time the 7 countries they were trying to take over. Somalia was one of them. Somalia was on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, I think maybe Sudan, Somalia. I can't remember.
Yeah,
y'all heard about the list before. I don't know it off the top of my head right now. I'm sorry.
But I think the thing to remember, the takeaway, is that the only one standing that was on that list that has not been taken out is Iran. And this year we shall be probably seeing a whole lot more of that Israel-Iran stuff blowing back up. Someone just mentioned at the beginning of the show a thing about Israel's attacking Iran as we speak. I looked that up. I didn't see any. The mainstream people are either suppressing it or that's potential
Oh,
Twitter,
they've definitely
Facebook,
been talking
TikTok.
about. Yeah, they're saying yeah. They're like, just wait and see. Israel's going to be
I think it
attacking
doesn't make
Iran
sense
soon.
right now because everyone should be on guard after seeing what happened to Venezuela. I was saying, I forgot to mention, I was a little bit surprised that Maduro had allowed himself to be captured. Like, don't you have some kind of surveillance that sees the Americans are close enough to do something? Like, why are you in Caracas at that time in New Year's Eve, right? You're a little too close to the coast. Like, the bug out plan didn't work. You know what I mean? So there
Yeah,
was some
why are
kind
you that close? Why are you that close to the coast? Yeah, you should be further inland somewhere.
But
like you,
they
what
got
you
caught with
think
their
was
pants
going to
down with
happen?
New Year's, maybe. And then I also saw a comment that the embarrassing thing for the Chinese, I don't know if you know that the Chinese delegation, like foreign ministers, were high-level meeting with the Venezuelans like the hours before he was kidnapped. So that was an embarrassment of the Chinese. But he also had a particularly bad soundbite that he said "Happy New Year" to the Chinese guy. Oh, you're a horse, whatever. I'm a tiger, was his astrology sign. And then they went and made his regime look like a paper tiger. So that just makes Venezuela sound and look bad. But now the people have shown that they're not that paper tiger. But we'll see, right? So.
And just side note, Venezuela is all through the Project 2025 doctrine.
Oh, I didn't know
They
that.
bring it's all in there. Yes,
Good side
the
note.
word Venezuela comes up multiple times.
Nice.
I think in the 200 pages of the 920 page document, they talk about Venezuela a lot. But anyway, so can we go back to like reread what you were saying about old world, new world, with the knowledge that we have now about what the Monroe Doctrine is?
Yeah, I got to get through some of this, and then probably don't want to read the whole thing. But so we were talking, we must do more than talk about a new world order. And then they launched Operation Restore Hope with troops from Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Egypt, Nigeria, and Saudis. Called it a moral duty, said the Pope, or whatever. But other countries saw the mandate of the UN Security Council coming under the thumb of the United States and its European allies. Indonesia's UN ambassador, Nugroho Wisnumurti, stated, "If you look at the council, in reality, you will see that only one or two are making decisions." And I would say that's what you see also when you look at OPEC. But that's just another side note. So, under the guise of a humanitarian crisis, the Rome-based World Food Program, which Iraq had found was serving as CIA cover, chartered two C-130 transports from CIA contract airline Southern Air Transport and began delivering food to Somalia, ostensibly. Well, also, they did deliver food, but the CIA began arming Islamic fundamentalists bent on destroying AD's leftist Somalia National Alliance. As the fighting intensified, the 2,000 U.S. Marines who had officially been deployed to protect UN peacekeeping troops prepared to come ashore. Organization for African Unity President Salim called the event a new kind of colonialism. UN relief groups were forced to withdraw their workers from the Somali regions of Bardera and Baidoa, where the famine which served as pretext for intervention was worst. Just like they're claiming that they need to help the Venezuelan people, they're actually making it much worse if you observe like what's actually happening as opposed to what they're saying. So there had been a severe drought in Somalia. So why is this a problem in Somalia? This is interesting too. At least partly because the country had been a big producer of cattle for export to Saudi Arabia, which resulted in severe overgrazing, deforestation, and desertification, which to this day, Somalia still suffers from severe drought because they're not really allowed to fix their ecology or their economy because it needs to be for the purposes of foreign nations. So the U.S. had often used Somalia to dump surplus commodities which could be fed to the cattle. The Somali shilling had gone from 15.6 per dollar in 1983 to 38,000 per dollar in 1991 due to a series of IMF-mandated devaluations. The IMF encouraged the export-led cattle economy while small farmers lost land and the country became a desert. So let's make the IMF illegal. I also heard that the Fed is like losing money now, so maybe it's time for the Fed to suffer first from some IMF mandated devaluations, eh? So General Aidid tried to form a government, but was forced to fight off the Islamist extremists, which is CIA unleashed. And now they use the Al-Shabaab as pretext to bomb Somalia so that they can, make it impossible for Somalia to reclaim Somaliland. Convenient, eh? So the day the U.S. Marines came ashore to back the extremists, President Bush stated that the war may have to be extended into northern Somalia. That very same day, Chevron Texaco board member and former Secretary of State George Shultz called for airstrikes on Yugoslavia. The CIA funded extremist warlord Ali Mahdi Mohammed, who seized the north section of the Somali capital, Mogadishu. They funded the extremist warlord who seized the capital. They also backed the Somali National Movement's successful attempt to seize northwestern Somalia and declare an independent country called the Republic of Somaliland. So it's a CIA-established country. And the interesting thing, I don't know if it's in this article or not, whatever, the only reason why there is this distinction between Somaliland and Somalia at all is because Somaliland was the British colony and Somalia was the Italian colony. And then when they gained their independence in 1960, it made sense for them to join into a unified country to unify like the ethnic Somali people. So then when you say that they deserve their independence, this country Somaliland should be split off, you're trying to advocate for a division in the Somali people, whatever. That's like saying, if you use Israel as an example, whatever, you're saying there should be two homelands for the Jews. Well, you don't say that though, do you? So there should be two homelands for the Somalis, but not.
Well, the big issue is like the big issue is they'll never. Oh, Jacqueline's getting tired. Say goodnight to Jacqueline.
Sorry, it was gonna be.
You had said something that I wanted to. Jacqueline, you were making good points in the chat too that I wanted to get to, but I guess you won't be here to discuss them about the Descent in Bloom article. But we're gonna get to it, Jacqueline. But you have a good night.
My bad. I've been just talking up too much.
And look for us like Monday or Tuesday or something. Hopefully you'll come up and talk to us, Jacqueline. Well, the big issue is there'll never be a one-state solution in Israel, right? Because there are more Palestinians than Israelis by numbers, which means if there was a one-state solution and they had democratic elections, then the Jewish people would be outnumbered. So they could never have a one-state solution.
Yeah.
So they just want to get rid of them. Like, get out of here.
Which is why it's upsetting when the international community keeps pushing that two-state solution, including China. And then we in the West, or whatever, we get criticized for not, but we try to support the one-state solution, whatever, it doesn't work because everyone's supporting the two-state solution. Then if we try to support the two-state solution, we're called Zionists because we're not supporting the one-state solution, but China's allowed to support the two-state solution. It doesn't really make sense, right?
Lance, that's a very good point. Like the whole Somalia daycare scandal fraud thing.
Interesting.
That's it's not that fraud hasn't happened there. It was more so during the pandemic that they found fraud. It's been reported. It's been in the news. People went to jail for it. It's already was taken care of, but they're like drumming it up like it's a new thing so they can, get people to hate Somalians, which overwhelmingly voted for Trump, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to point that out.
That's an interesting point. But that actually kind of dovetails a little bit with maybe I should move
And
on.
they're not even immigrants. They are either first generation Somalians or most of them are naturalized citizens. So these are American citizens
They couldn't
that
even
they're
be
talking
deported if
about
they wanted.
here.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
we'll see.
Exactly.
Because they're trying
to
we'll
establish
see.
a precedent that they're allowed to deport whoever they want for whatever reason. And you just have to
we'll
trust it.
see.
But I was saying that's
but
interesting.
the fact that this is happening when Israel's trying to create Somaliland, it juxtaposed together is not a coincidence, Lance. Is what I gotta say. Kill Your Egregores is here, by the way.
Yes.
KYE in the place to be.
How's it going?
I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna tell you later about. It's a little messiness in the chat. I'm gonna tell you about it when we get off. I don't want to bring it up here.
I was gonna
But
say because
it is a little what the fuck-ish.
You mentioned that a lot of the Somali Americans voted for Trump, and so that's interesting that you say that, because maybe I should go, for the sake of time, to my next little article here about Somalia. Not just Somaliland offered. Okay, Somaliland's offering their U.S. a military base and mineral access in bid for international recognition by the U.S. But interestingly enough, I found an article that says Somalia is also was also offering the U.S. full control over Somaliland's port of Berbera. So Somalia was basically trying to buy the support of the Americans by, like, they're trying to, please stop, like, trying to destroy our country and bomb us on the pretext of attacking terrorists, whatever. You can have this port. Where is that port? It's in Somalia, in Somaliland. So Somalia is trying to say that's supposed to be under our jurisdiction, but as a bargaining chip, so you don't recognize them, you can have that port. And Somaliland's like, no, fuck you. That's our port. We've been controlling it de facto for whatever 30 years. So it's interesting that Somalia is in such a weak position. It's still trying to appeal to the Americans to leave them alone by throwing them a bone that they don't even have. So I think let me see. Yeah, here. So Somalia offers U.S. full control over Somaliland's port of Berbera. This was published in March 30th, 2025. So it's interesting to see the beginning of last year. This is what they're saying. At the beginning of this year, this really didn't work out for them because U.S. seems to have decisively turned their back on Somalia in favor of Somaliland. So America's not your friend. Stop acting like they ever will be, right? Lesson learned, hopefully. The geopolitics in the Horn of Africa have taken a new turn, with Somalia indicating that it is ready to offer the U.S. exclusive control of its ports in the Gulf of Aden. This was revealed in a letter leaked last week, which appeared to have been written by Somalia's president, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, who is not a good guy, and addressed to the U.S. President Donald Trump. The letter is dated March 16th. Somalia is prepared to offer the U.S. exclusive operational control over the Balidogle and Berbera air bases, as well as the port of Berbera and Bosaso. These strategically positioned assets provide an opportunity to bolster American engagement in the region, ensuring uninterrupted military and logistical access in this critical corridor. And yet, as much as they're trying to completely supplicate to the Americans, the America said, that's not good enough. We're still going to bomb you. Ports of Berbera and Bosaso have long attracted global interest due to their strategic location near the entrance of the Red Sea. The U.S. operates a naval base in neighboring Djibouti, whose lease is scheduled to expire in 2034 with an option for 10-year extension, which is why if Djibouti has a base with China, it's looking like they're not likely to get this extension, so they need to find a base of operation to maintain control over that strait, over those straits, that canal, right? So, however, the offer from Somalia promises to expand America's footprint in the Gulf of Aden. The U.S. military is currently leading efforts to secure southern Red Sea from the ongoing Houthi attacks on American shipping. 2026, I would also expect a renewal of hostilities against the Houthis. We'll see what happens. but Somalia's proposal to the U.S. has been interpreted as a desperate move to stop recognition of its breakaway region, Somaliland, as a sovereign state. Early this month, the Financial Times reported that Washington was in the initial stages of negotiating with Somaliland. The discussions are about a possible deal to recognize the de facto state in exchange for rights to establish a military base near the port of Berbera. So back then, it was only about the military base. Now, they don't want you to think about the military bases. They want you to think about Israel's recognition. I think that's kind of not an accident. So, in a speech on Saturday, Somaliland's President Abdirahman Iro dismissed Somalia's offer to the U.S. The leadership of Somaliland rests with me and my people. No one can claim or negotiate over the territory of Somaliland. You can't give away territory that's not yours? Funny. That's ironic, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure that that's what you did to the Palestinians. But anyway, I'm sorry. Just a little quiet part out loud.
But they aren't people.
Yeah.
They don't count.
But to the Somalilanders, you guys are people for this year.
For this year, yes. Until we don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Don't be so foolish. But I guess they're caught in between a rock and a hard place. They feel like America is the only savior they have. Pretty stupid. You got the Houthis across the fucking strait. Go work with them.
You're people in Somalia because we need Somaliland, but you're not people in Minnesota. Y'all can fuck off.
So then the other
y'all
thing,
can kick rocks.
The other thing, just share here briefly. I don't maybe want to even read this because we're running out of time. I want to get to Cambodia and Thailand because that's also very interesting. There's another canal there that no one's talking about that I wanted to talk about. But the thing to remember about Somaliland is Ethiopia wants their access to the sea through there. So if we're looking at whose side is Ethiopia on, did they not join BRICS or whatever? So this whole thing about China can have their... Oh, did I lose? Oh, no, okay, never mind. China can have
right there.
People in BRICS that are not really aligned with communist, whatever stuff. I think that's going to blow back in their face spectacularly, right? They got India and Ethiopia and Brazil and what is it? Like Saudi Arabia. These people are going to stab China in the back for letting them be a part of BRICS. And I really think that they need to, I don't know, be very careful there. We'll see what happens. So,
you free? Oh, okay.
Sorry, I don't know. We just you want to share anything? I was just kind of share the title of that, and it's already like 2 hours 20 minutes. Do you want to pivot to the Thailand stuff?
Sure.
Because
I don't
there's
have any Thailand stuff. That was your stuff.
Yeah, I'll do it then.
But while you are pulling it up, I can.
Because I feel like when it gets to conflicts in Asia, we never get around to it. But that doesn't mean that it's just as important what's happening over there as what's happening over here. But we just never talk about Asia for some reason. We only talk about China. We don't talk about the rest of Asia. So,
well, there's a lot. Look, there's so much to talk about. I think we've been around the world and I can't find my baby. You remember that song? You probably don't.
No, I have no idea what that song was.
Don't worry about it.
So you can share it in the Discord.
I don't know why.
Maybe we should plug the Discord. We haven't done that in a while.
Well, I'm going crazy.
Here.
I know Rondo knows. Rondo and Sean knows. I know that much. All right, let me play this while you are pulling up what you want to pull up. Why the U.S. overthrows governments.
Okay, what's the first question?
Why do you believe that the United States so violently tries to overthrow other forms of government, such as socialist governments, such as what happened in Chile in 1973 and in Cuba? Why is the United States respond with such moneyed interest?
Good. Excellent. Everyone hear the question? If you look, and not enough people do, and that gets me into a whole other issue, which is the media, which I want to talk about, because I'm very concerned about the media today and the degree to which a few corporations control what we see, hear, and read. But if you check American history, sometimes the president will tell you, well, we are always defenders of freedom. We believe in freedom. But if you check history, what you will find is that in many years, especially in Latin America, which way back from when President Monroe developed his Monroe Doctrine, we have the right to own Latin America.
There we go again with the
what we want.
There we go again.
That's the simple truth. So throughout our
Sorry, there we go again with the Monroe Doctrine. So I'm gonna start it over. Sorry.
I guess he got a memo.
I didn't even realize I was in here.
Okay, who was the first question?
Okay.
Why do you believe that the United
And Sean, I'm sending you who the song is by. He's drawing a blank there.
Okay, who was the first question?
Why do you believe that the United States so violently tries to overthrow other forms of government, such as socialist governments, such as what happened in Chile in 1973 and in Cuba? Why is the United States respond with such moneyed interest?
Good. Excellent. Everyone hear the question? If you look, and not enough people do, and that gets me into a whole other issue, which is the media, which I want to talk about, because I'm very concerned about the media today and the degree to which a few corporations control what we see, hear, and read. But if you check American history, sometimes the president will tell you, well, we are always...
Oh, we froze.
These defenders of freedom.
I don't know what just happened. Okay.
Apparently, the second time you tried to replay it, it got worse.
Uh-oh. Look,
But if you check...
they know they know
But if
we're
you check
lying.
American history, sometimes the president will tell you, well, we are always defenders of freedom. We believe in freedom. But if you check history, what you will find is that in many years, especially in Latin America, which way back from when President Monroe developed his Monroe Doctrine, we have the right to own Latin America, and we will tell any government there what we want to happen. That's the simple truth. So throughout our history, we have overthrown many, many governments. We didn't like their form of government. In the case of Chile, in 1973, what you had is an election in which a guy named Salvador Allende won the election. Problem is, Nixon and his friends didn't like him. Why? Because Salvador Allende fought for the poor people and the working people of that country. He believed that the resources of Chile, their copper mines and so forth, should belong to the people. And he won a free election. No one denied that for a second. It was a tough election, didn't win by much, but he won a free election. There was another election. His party got more support. He was overthrown by the CIA and corporate interest, because corporate interest preferred, of course, that the United States companies dominate that country. And a lot of what politics is about, going way, way back to the 19th century, through England, France, is the domination of colonies so that big companies in a given country can take the resources of those countries for their own use. So I think that's what happened. And it was a very unfortunate day in American history. Allende won in a democratic election, was popular, was overthrown, and eventually killed. And in his place, a guy named General Pinochet took place, ran that country with an iron fist, killed many, many people, but he was okay. He was a good guy. Why? Because he was a friend of corporate America.
We all know
So
this.
basically, the Monroe Doctrine is, I'm white and I say so. There you have it. I'm white and I say so. In the Western Hemisphere. So it was mainly about South America because Canada's white, so you guys say so. But now it's like, fuck it. Canada, Greenland, all y'all can go.
That
Oh, yeah,
definition of
go.
whiteness always gets reevaluated when it's convenient or necessary. It's okay. Canada deserves a whole lot of pain for being a whole bunch of shitty for a very long time. To this day, there's too many Canadians. We don't want freedom. We want ignorance and whatever American influence everywhere, always. It's retarded. We don't want to get rid of the British monarch. Who needs to do that? Whatever.
Lance,
Pathetic.
why do you hate white people so much, Abby? Do you have to ask? No, I don't hate white people.
It's more like, why do you hate racists so much? Oh,
Right.
I get it.
Right.
I answer my own question.
Why do I hate colonizers so much? That's all. That's all.
So I think this was what I had next here. So there was a few things.
No, some of y'all get it. Some of y'all get invites to the cookout. Y'all know it, so stop playing with me.
So most recently, Thailand and Cambodia have a ceasefire that they are maintaining, whatever. But I checked like a couple days ago. There was a potential like violation of it. Not sure if it was like some kind of whatever false flag thing to try and get the conflict to spark back up again. But the Thai side accused the Cambodians of like shelling them or whatever, and then the Cambodians said, "Oh, actually, it was just an accident. There was a garbage pile that exploded, and somehow that ended up resulting in a strike on the Thai side." It's very weird, and so, but they acknowledge that they didn't mean to do it. So then the ceasefire is holding. So that's like the current January 8th, whatever.
This happened in mid-December.
Right, but so right now the ceasefire, it's like a frozen conflict. It's not like they've decided to stop the war, like make a peace treaty, but they aren't fighting right now. But I'll bet you they're doing behind the scenes negotiations. They're just if America doesn't get its way, I'm not sure which side will break the ceasefire. It's very complicated, this situation. That's why we need to start learning about it, because just like with the Somali guys in the 90s, whatever, the Siad Barre guy was courting the Soviets and the U.S. at the same time. But this is very much what's happening. Both the Thai side and the Cambodians trying to play both sides, play that balancing act, and it's going to fail miserably because they both can't get away with it at the same time. So just wait for this conflict to kind of blow up a little bit. I don't see it getting resolved because it's not really about whatever Buddhist monastery that they're claiming it is. So it's interesting. Laos is one of the only other communist countries in the world, from what I remember, but no one ever talks about them. But maybe we'll talk a little bit about Laos today, because I came across this and I don't think anyone reported about it. So let's report about it now because it's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't heard anybody, like, we often do that, talk about the stuff nobody's talking about.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because everybody's going over the same stuff. So it's like,
yeah.
Why do
if I have something to contribute, it's stuff that everyone hears about all the time. But
yeah, sometimes I want to talk about it.
Everyone, like with the Epstein stuff, everyone says what's already needs to be said. I don't really have anything more to add. So we already know what should happen, what's not happening. So
sometimes I want to be messy and stuff, too.
Yeah, but maybe we can get into the salacious shit sometimes or whatever.
This is salacious shit.
Yeah. So this is from December 15th, 2025. Thailand cuts Laos fuel route as Cambodia border conflict deepens. So the summary: border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia enter second week, but that's over now for a ceasefire. At least 38 people were dead and 500,000 displaced on both sides. That's the main thing. Whatever create a huge amount of economic disruption, even if it's like a low intensity, like sort of fake conflict for now. But some fuel sent to Laos going to Cambodian fuel forces, Thai military says. Cambodia says Thai Air Force striking deep inside its territory. Thailand's military said on Monday that it has stopped fuel shipments passing through a border checkpoint with Laos because of fears they were being diverted to Cambodia, with which it is fighting a fierce border conflict. The Thai and Cambodian militaries are clashing at multiple locations along their 817-kilometer land border, both sides said, with no signs of the fighting abating despite international efforts to negotiate a ceasefire, including calls by the Donaldo. A special meeting of Southeast Asian foreign ministers, where top diplomats from both sides could have met, that was scheduled to take place on Tuesday, had been pushed back to December 22nd at Thailand's request.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah, sorry.
For me?
The Malaysian Foreign Ministry said in a statement.
Thank you.
The neighbors have long disputed sections of the frontier, but the scale and intensity of the latest clashes that stretch from forested inland areas near the Laos border to coastal provinces are unprecedented in recent history. Over 500,000 people have been displaced by the fighting, which has killed at least 38 on both sides over the past 8 days, according to national authorities, who mounted a round of evacuations in July when the neighbors clashed for 5 days before Trump helped broker a truce. Restrictions at Laos border crossing. Thailand's military has restricted the movement of all fuel supplies through the Chong Mek border crossing into Laos after receiving intelligence that these were being routed to Cambodian troops, said Thai Defense Ministry spokesperson Rear Admiral Surasant Kongthiri. Our intention is not to cause impacts on the Lao people or government, he said at a press conference. The Laotian Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment. I do have an article about their response, though. I'll get to that in a minute. Military is also considering limiting the movement of Thai vessels into high-risk areas in Cambodian waters where they could be fired upon, a Navy official said, adding that any such measures would not impact shipments from other countries. So they're kind of using this this conflict as a pretext to assert more control over the territorial waters, which is where we get into the similarities between Venezuela and Somalia. A sizable portion of Cambodia's refined fuel imports, such as gasoline, gas, oil, and jet fuel, comes via the sea route, according to multiple trade sources, though an exact percentage of market share could not be confirmed. So what needs to be said, not sure if the data will come up in this article. I think it's kind of more important to sort of pay attention to the sea routes in Asia, because like 80% of China's oil comes from whatever you call it, the Hormuz Strait, and then it has to go through the Straits of Malacca, like down by Singapore and Indonesia or whatever. So that is a big problem for China, that they are kind of finally potentially coming to a resolution where they maybe don't have to go through the Strait of Malacca anymore. And that would be a categorical loss for the U.S. So it's extremely important for them to disrupt China. Like, this is where it will hurt them the most. So they're going to take away their oil from Venezuela, and then like the kicker would be if they can take away their oil from Iran too, and then China would be really fucked. So, but we don't talk about it.
I think that must be Cowboy Kitty saying goodbye. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, we're just
I'm not
gonna go on long tonight. So thanks for popping in, everyone. I don't expect you to be able to stick with me necessarily. I think he might have started a new job, Cookies or whatever, but he's probably got to get to bed there so he can get to work.
Oh, that's Bad Cookies.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was one of the jokesters.
Yeah. Always good to see you.
Yes, we miss you.
So where was I here?
I'm not exactly sure. Because this is my first time hearing about this conflict. So if you could explain it like I'm 5, I would appreciate that.
Okay. So Thailand, we have to kind of remember now, if there's a conflict breaking out on the Thai border with Cambodia, now Thailand has a war on both fronts, because on the other side of their country, they have a border with Myanmar. And Myanmar's got this whole genocide of the Rohingya going on, right? So the junta seized power in Myanmar because the U.S. support for democracy or whatever, they tried to have like a sham election thing, and then the army stepped in and said, this is bullshit. We're not letting you install an American opposition in our country. Sound familiar, right? Venezuela, same thing. But Myanmar has been kind of maybe successfully cast in the public's mind as like a real dictator, that dictatorship that's not legitimate, needs to be eliminated or whatever. So, but long story short, Russia and China are now more openly supporting Myanmar. They're like sending them like helicopters and like weapons and artillery shit, whatever. So, but Thailand's kind of remained neutral. And so, but Thailand and Cambodia, to really explain the conflict, you have to like get to the Belt and Road Initiative. And that sort of starts to reveal what's going on a little bit. Because China's...
Yeah, I don't know enough about politics in the area of Asia, obviously.
But the reason why they need to create a conflict in Myanmar is to prevent the Belt and Road Initiative. Same thing why they want to create conflict in Pakistan.
Are you saying bets or belts?
Belt and Road Initiative.
BELTN
Yeah.
ROSE.
Yeah.
So
BELTANDROAD.
yeah,
And road.
ROAO roads. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if people who are listening know what that is. So maybe we should
call it up a little bit and do a summary or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
it
so.
is China's master plan to de-dollarize the world, basically, to put it succinctly.
I don't want to go to Wikipedia. How about the weforum.org? Oh, that's from weforum.org. Is that okay?
Sure.
If I read it from there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read it in
the WEFORM, that's WEF, whatever, World Economic Forum.
Sean, don't tease me with a good time now. Don't you do it, boy. All right, so let me share this so they can see what I'm reading to them. All right. That is not big enough.
Ooh, tiny words.
It's not big enough.
That's what she said.
Sean. All right, here we go. There we go. This fall marks 10 years since Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the Belt and Road Initiative, the vast infrastructure project that China devised to boost trade and connectivity across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Over the years, the Belt and Road Initiative, also known as the One Belt and One Road Initiative, or the New Silk Road, has included numerous physical development and financial investment projects ranging from the construction of railways to satellite networks. The endeavor remains one of the largest infrastructure plans ever initiated by a single country. So I'm familiar with this because of all of the infrastructure projects that they have been doing in Africa. Like, I knew about that, but I didn't have a name for it, and I thought it was only in Africa. So this is saying it's across Africa, Europe,
No, it's like
and
a global
Asia.
project. They've even had, like, Panama Canals tried to be a part of this Belt and Road Initiative, and then the U.S. was like, hell no, you're not allowed to be. No. That's the Eastern Hemisphere bullshit. And they're not even going to they're actively doing everything they can to sabotage it in every form. Wherever it is, the U.S., their solution to the Silk Road is to bomb, like, destroy every road they build, every factory that they build. They want to sabotage it, the whole thing. Because if they build it, the U.S. is screwed.
Yes, okay. Okay, so now that I have that foundation, then what you're saying makes more sense to me. Okay.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else in the chat needed that. Maybe it was just me, but
yeah. Well, the U.S.
we're here now. We're here now.
Right. Now we're on the same page. So the U.S. has been using this argument that what China's doing to the rest of the world with this BRI initiative is trying to debt trap everybody. So what China's saying is they're trying to have win-win solutions. So we'll invest in your country so that we can build infrastructure projects so that you can trade with us so we can make our money back and you can make money by trading instead of going to war with us. Isn't that better?
Okay, so I mean, this is very interesting. I just had a brain fart about how we were in Venezuela and we were like, we'll invest in your infrastructure and we'll, in these refineries. And then instead of saying, okay, once we recouped our money and then some, and then Venezuela was like, all right, we've done our part. Now we want our shit back. They're like, no, we own this shit. So I wonder if China would pull a reverse Uno on all the infrastructure they built, like the U.S. companies did. You know what I'm saying?
Say, that's our infrastructure.
And only time will tell, right?
Yeah.
Like
good point.
even if you recouped all of your investment and then some, would they still feel like they own it in perpetuity? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta read up more on this.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. But what to bring it back to Thailand and Cambodia? So China's basically been like flirting with both of them. Like
Oh, let me pull back
they're
up here.
courting. China is courting every
You
nation.
want your
Oh.
article back up?
Sure. I'm gonna take yours down and then
Did you want your article back up? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is down. I'm trying to add yours. Let me let you do it.
Okay. Oh, now it's there. We go.
Okay, there we go.
So just to kind of finish explaining a bit to your comment. So China's like courting every nation in Asia to be a part of their Belt and Road Initiative. So they've made offers to the Thai people, and they made offers to Laos and Cambodia, and China's like biggest investments have been with like Myanmar and Laos and Cambodia, and less so with Thailand. Thailand's been more of like on the fence. They've been like, I'm not sure if it's really in our interest. Maybe we want to try and play the balancing act with the U.S., right? Even though I think it's actually in the Thai people's interest to give up on the balancing act already. You're in China's sphere of influence. Start fucking acting like it. Stop thinking like you're Ukraine, thinking you're right on their border, but you're going to be super independent from Russia or whatever. No, it's more to your interest to be in their sphere of influence than it is to think that by being outside of their sphere of influence, that you're going to be safe from the Americans by being friendly with them. So I think they can get more protection from China if they stop trying to whore themselves out to the Americans, like every fucking nation seems like to have this obsession with doing, right? So kind of wanting to, maybe I'm going to be burying the lead a little bit, but what I'm trying to get to there's this canal project that's been proposed in Thailand for like centuries called the Kra Canal.
Should we pull up a map or so they can see where you're going?
If you
with
pull
this?
up a map of and then focus in on Thailand, I will show you that. But
okay.
So, but I'm just trying to kind of to show people how the conflict kind of connects to the economic stuff happening in the background. So that's why I called up the stuff about the conflict first, because Thailand is claiming that Laos is sharing their oil with Cambodia. But then I had another article saying this from the Laotian Times says Laos rejects claims of oil re-exports to Cambodia, assures compliance with law. So Laos has a law that any fuel that they import is only allowed for domestic consumption. So for the Thai people to claim that the Laotian people are propping up the Cambodian side, like helping them in the conflict by sending them oil and stuff, it doesn't really make sense, because recently the Laotian people have been suffering from like a fuel shortage. Like they had an economic crisis because of the war in Ukraine and the de-dollarization stuff. And then their currency, they had a currency crisis. So
I'm gonna take yours down so I can pull up this map. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know what I was doing.
I'll just keep going or whatever. Explain it. So so they had a currency crisis in Laos a couple years ago. That's like kind of finally coming under control, and they had fuel shortages as a result. So then they had to like start buying gas from China instead of, they usually get their oil and gas from Thailand. But then Thailand's kind of using their leverage to screw the Laotian people over in a way. And so then now they're kind of coming out of this, but this is where there might be some truth to the idea that like the Laotians are a bit like debt trapped by the Chinese, and so are the Cambodians in a way, because they made these investments, these big infrastructure projects with China, but then the money that they're supposed to make from it hasn't exactly materialized fast enough. So it wasn't maybe an intentional debt trap. But the thing is, America's trying to sabotage all these investments. So if they're successful enough, then the much needed benefit economically from making these massive projects or whatever happen does not materialize. And then you get the point at China and say, look, you did it on purpose. So that's what's going on there. Right.
So the map is there.
So
Do you know
let's
where
zoom
they're
in.
trying to build a
Can
canal?
you,
I did. That's
you
like
gotta-
the biggest I could do.
Okay, so then you got to call up like Google Maps where you can zoom in or whatever, and then
Or you just want me to do? You just want me to do Asia then? Because I
It's just
did a
a little-
world map.
it's just a little too hard to point
Okay,
out
let me-
people where the Croc Canal would be if it's so small and
Yeah.
so if you can-
Yeah, because I
But
did a world
basically-
map. Let me do an Asian map.
Thailand has this, like, it's got this chunk and then like a little tail that connects it to like Malaysia, I think. And it's in that little like land bridge tail on Thailand that they're proposing to build this canal. The problem is they see what happened to the Suez Canal. They see what happened to the Panama Canal. They've all these years decided not to build it because they're afraid as soon as they do, they're going to lose their own sovereignty over their own country because they will have created such a massive economic benefit to the world that everyone's going to want to come take their country, take over the canal, whatever, and by extension, their country. So the problem is that you lose out on the benefits of not building these infrastructure projects because you're afraid of people coming to take your wealth if you do. So they already lost their sovereignty by not being able to build this kind of thing. So they're, instead of a canal, they're going to build a land bridge. But this is where maybe I'll share my my article on that
Yeah, this
until you
isn't
get your
going well
map
for
up.
me.
Okay.
This isn't going well. Okay, give me a second.
Because I'm kind of talking about the next article I wanted to get to, and I didn't.
What is
It would be
going
better to
on
have
in
like.
the chat? I don't even want to know right now.
So, can the Croc Canal break U.S. control of the Malacca Strait? So here's a picture. Maybe this is a better picture. Maybe you don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I don't have to. Okay.
So they want to put like right through here.
Oh, I see.
This would change everything, right?
Everything,
so China would
because you
be
don't
able
have to go all the way
You have to
around.
go all the way around. But it's also a
Right.
threat to India because now then should the Chinese military presence in the Andaman Sea would increase. So the U.S. is like, okay, no, we have to stop them no matter what. The other canal, there's two canals, right? So the Thai wanted to build this canal, but maybe they're probably going to build a land bridge instead. The Cambodians want to build a canal connecting Phnom Penh, I don't know how to pronounce that, to some place down on the coast here called like Phuketville or something. I butchered that.
So would that be like would it be a canal or like a just access to a major city?
So this the Cambodian
so
canal.
they would be landing. Okay.
The Cambodian canal would make it so that the Cambodians don't have to trade through Vietnam to get to the sea. So right now, I guess this complicated like river system that they got, whatever, like they have to go through Ho Chi Minh City or something in order to get their products to export to the world. So they'll be able to cut Vietnam out if Cambodia builds this canal. And China is, for their Belt and Road Initiative, they've funded this massive canal project, but then it stalled for years. And then
Because sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That
Go
star indicates that might be like the capital.
Yeah.
Or capital.
That's-
So they're trying to build access straight to the capital because they have infrastructure there. Is what I'm guessing. So Lance asks, how is Malaysia involved in this?
I don't know. I didn't get around to that. But actually, I could show you. This is where the U.S. doesn't like all this. And then, did you know that there's an insurgency in South Thailand? Because there's never enough insurgency.
Can you go back? Because he was like, how did Cambodia become Cambodia? Which I was wondering that too. I was like, that's Cambodia, right?
I don't know. I think maybe.
but it was called Cambodia on your map.
Cambodia is the English exonym of the country. That's what we from the outside call the country, and then from the inside or another country, like the Chinese might call it something different. Yeah,
I'm gonna Google it because it's like we say Turkey, but it's really Turkey,
Yeah, well, it is now.
kind of like that. Well, it was always that, but they made it like official because they was just tired of us calling them turkey, like they were a piece of meat.
Yeah. But anyway, I was sharing this, but I hadn't actually read it, right? So this is from January 3rd, 2026. Can the Craw Canal break U.S. control of the Malacca Strait? Actually, no, this is the ABC one. I want to share. The other one I read was better. Sorry, my bad. Craw Canal or land bridge? The answer will shift global geopolitics, January 1st, 2026. So, same kind of topic. In southern Thailand lies the unassuming Isthmus of Craw, a narrow strip of land between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific.
Hold on. Before you start, let me just answer the question.
Yeah.
Cambodia and Cambodia. No, you're fine. I just want, before we move on, refer to the same country. The difference is the language used. Cambodia is a common English name, while Cambodia is the name used in German.
Okay, interesting.
And then there's the native language, and they pronounce it Kampuche, I think.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah. So there we have it.
That's so
All right,
weird.
so
The
go
ABC, American ABC article is using a German map. Or what Okay, so
oh, and the French call it Cambodge.
Oh, Cambodge. Sounds
Cambodge. No, when there's an E at the end, you don't pronounce the E. You pronounce the consonant, right? So Cambodge.
Now all I can think about is kombucha.
And you know that.
Does that come from Cambodia?
the fermented drink.
Yeah.
Kombucha.
I bet you it comes from Cambodia. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Is that good enough?
Mm-hmm.
So in southern Thailand lies the unassuming Isthmus of Craw, a narrow strip of land between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. Geostrategically, the region marks the narrowest point of the Asian mainland, the logical location for an alternative trade route to the Strait of Malacca, that vital sea passage through which roughly 1/3 of global maritime trade flows today. China, above all, is watching developments there with intense attention. Through the Malacca Strait flows 73 to 75% of its energy imports and 2/3 of its seaborne trade. But this strait is vulnerable, controlled by a U.S.-dominated alliance, flanked by Singapore and Malaysia. So this is how Malaysia kind of ties in. They're aligned with the Americans, I guess, and potentially blockable in a crisis. In Beijing, policymakers have for years openly discussed the Malacca dilemma, the strategic fear that the country's most important trade route could be severed at any time through blockade, war, or targeted coercion. No country in the world is as economically dependent on maritime trade as China, and no sea route is as dangerously exposed as Malacca. The logical consequence, China is seeking alternatives through Laos and Myanmar, through pipelines and railway networks, but also through Thailand. And it is precisely there that a decision now looms. Will the kingdom build a canal straight through the south, the Craw Canal discussed for centuries, and thereby bypass the Malacca Strait, or will it opt for the modern variant, a land bridge with 2 ports, railway, and highway that handles cargo, transport, overland, but maintains strategic neutrality? Thailand is more than a transit land. It is the geostrategic keystone between East and West, between maritime dominance and continental ascent. Sounds like you got some kind of fancy high opinion of yourselves, but maybe some truth to that. So what is decided here affects not merely regional economic flows, but could shift the power balance of the Indo-Pacific throughout the 21st century. After over 300 years of debate, the moment is approaching when an idea becomes reality or is shelved once and for all. Strategic starting point, global power shift in the Indo-Pacific. The Indo-Pacific is no longer merely a geographic term. It is a new geopolitical center of gravity of the world. Again, very highfalutin language, but maybe some kernel of truth to it. So,
this is totally off topic, but I guess it might still be on topic. But I've learned a lot tonight, by the way. Thank you, Michael. And I hope I've given a lot of info as well. We'll see. Just the way that the way we're discussing this, about the way we've discussed all this, okay, everything, just makes me think. I go back to like American exceptionalism or what have you, where Americans are supposed to celebrate billionaires and millionaires because one day we could be them, type of thing, right? Which is a false premise, because when you look at how all these countries fight and treat each other, it's like I thought you were supposed to celebrate millionaires and billionaires. Like, why are you mad that they're trying to do something to enhance themselves? Isn't that what you taught us that was supposed to be happening? Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
But no.
But that's where
it's what we're supposed to think we can do, because they know we can't do it.
That's
you know
where,
what I'm saying?
That's where, like, nobody has heard enough about what Lenin has to say about all that shit, right? The thing about imperialism is the final monopoly stage of capitalism, right? That's where now imperialism starts to contradict capitalism, where capitalism in the East is not okay because it's not a part of imperial dominance. So in order for the capitalist in the West to maintain their rate of declining, to maintain their profit from declining, they have to interfere with other nations. They can't let them have successful capitalism. So capitalism eats itself. But you don't want to notice that, right? That's what that's what nobody wants to notice. They just want to keep making money and acting like that's going to solve every problem.
And this continues to go back to, I don't know how many times we've said this, like, if Jacqueline would have heard that, she would have been so happy. You didn't know that she was worried because you had thing with your job and stuff, and she didn't see Bella anywhere, and she was she was worried about her. I said, no, she's there.
Yeah.
Hi, Bella. But she's gonna think that means she's supposed to go out.
She heard you.
So.
Well, it is almost time. We can't go on too much
almost
longer.
Time. But this brings me back to one show that we had where the guy from Greater India and the guy from Greater Russia were talking about aligning so they could go beat somebody else. And I was like, okay, so once they beat them and they've knocked them out, then Greater India and Greater Russia are going to turn on each other. Because they have no loyalty, because their thing is dominance. It's not communal or tribal. So, like, what are we doing? We're just gonna keep fucking fighting each other forever.
Yeah,
like,
that's where
is that plain?
We can't quite understand what other nations would actually do if they actually had the power that the U.S. has, because every time we try and do the thought experiment of what would happen, we kind of project our Western way of seeing the world onto what we think they would do. And so it becomes a distortion about how to actually understand, like, China and in Russia and in Iran and stuff, and the whole multipolar world stuff. Like, as long as you're trying to, like, think that no other nation can be anti-imperialist, wherever, you're going to assume that what's motivating their actions is just more imperialism. And we won't really be able to conceive of a person like Venezuela, a nation that actually is not trying to operate with an imperialist mindset. It just can't. The Americans can't get it. Like, they can't get it through their head, or whatever, that someone actually would move on from this mentality.
I don't think it's just America. It's France. It's the UK.
Yeah.
Like, those three countries, and Israel. Those four. Whew, we got to do something about them. Something wrong with them in the head.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working out. They don't need to be in power. They doing too much.
Yeah.
And everybody's suffering.
They have no humility. They haven't been humbled by a lack of power. That's where I was kind of thinking that the UK had an opportunity, when the U.S. took their whatever hegemony away from them, they should have recognized now it's time for the UK to be humble, to learn our place in the world as no longer on top of it. But do they sit there and take that? No. They have to go for the old glory that they're never going to have ever again. That to make themselves look ridiculous, trying to whatever. The old man trying to fit his way back into a young man's clothes. Not going to happen.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Have we been on long enough?
But yeah. Let me just because I started
you have one
talking
more
about it. I got to kind of finish the pièce de résistance or whatever.
Hold on, Michael. Should I Google this, Lance? This is breaking. You make it. Oh,
they're coming for you,
Mike. That's a joke. I thought it was breaking news.
That would be hilarious. I would kind of like to see some stories. I haven't gone looking. I bet you there are Canadians that they'd be deporting with all of this. Like there's maybe a few Canadians who decided to sneak into the U.S. for whatever reason. But for the most part, all Canadians like to do things by the book or whatever. Most Canadians in the U.S. are probably there legally, but they'll get deported anyways if they're for whatever reason. So.
Yeah. And then, well, that's kind of getting off the subject. Because it's not off the subject. Like another issue is like the countries they're trying to do regime change in and coup, like right off the bat, are all countries. And thank you, I think that was Lance. Thank you for making me think of this. They're all countries that aren't on the Federal Reserve hierarchy. So the Rothschilds don't control these countries. Venezuela isn't with the Federal Reserves. Burkina Faso isn't. Niger, Mali.
Yeah.
These are the countries they're going after because they want a one world banking system. So thank you for reminding me of that. We're all on the list. We're all on the list. Y'all are on the list. The chat is on the list.
But I also feel like we haven't been saying these things for long enough, or whatever. Where we might be on some kind of list, but we're not maybe on the same list as like Fiorella, Isabel, and like. I don't know. Indy's probably higher up on a list there somewhere.
We're on the list of sexy bitches.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you have.
Yeah, let me try and wrap up here because I brought up this land bridge canal thing, and it's kind of important. But then it's just we probably should have made a whole show about that instead of trying to do 3 shows in one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I? Do I need to reshare the article you had up? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do that. So, yes, Rondo, the petrodollar is on its way out.
And it's really interesting to see how hard they're trying to.
They're clamoring.
They're fighting so hard to get that petrodollar back. But what's happening?
The inevitable.
With all that climate change, the whole industry is all trying to shift away from oil. It seems like so. That's going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out. But anyway, let's wrap it up here. So, where was I? The great power shifts of the 21st century are playing out precisely in the Indo-Pacific along maritime.
Wait. That's not what we're seeing. Hold on.
Oh, no?
No. Where are you? Can you highlight?
The very top paragraph. Yeah.
It says the Indo-Pacific is no longer merely.
I just started at the second.
Okay.
That's where I stopped reading. But then,
My bad.
I might as well read. The Indo-Pacific is no longer merely a geographic term. It's the new geopolitical center of gravity of the world. The great power shifts of the 21st century are playing out precisely here, along maritime routes, digital infrastructures, and economic corridors. At the center stands an actor who no longer disguises its ascent, but systematically secures it, China. With its Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing pursues the goal of reducing its own vulnerability and creating geopolitical depth. over sea, over land, through data cables, pipelines, railways, and ports. The strategic guiding principle is clear. Connection creates influence. Control over nodes creates power. In the maritime sphere, this means developing alternative routes to the Strait of Malacca, through the Bay of Bengal via Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and precisely through Thailand. So this little part here, I just wanted to mention, this screams cybernetics. Okay, so the whole, I feel like I made a connection reading this article between postmodernism, cybernetics, and multipolarity. So it's kind of like postmodernism is like the cultural, ideological kind of societal backdrop, whatever. And then multipolarity is like the political, economic manifestation of that. And like cybernetics is what actually inspires postmodernism. Because without the technological, whatever, shift from this more static way of thinking about politics and everything, with the Cold War and all the cybernetic, whatever gold rush of cybernetics, that created the philosophical environment for people to think in terms of postmodernism, because everything was about decentralizing power instead of this grand narrative of everything being under one umbrella or whatever. All the postmodernism is about decentralizing like the grand narratives and stuff. So maybe that's just me speculating, but I feel like there's some interesting correlations there. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point.
Good night, Macy and Sula.
Good night. Good night.
We're almost done, you guys.
Yeah, I just keep making reasons why we got to keep going. So I'm just, my bad. In the maritime sphere, this means developing alternative. Yeah, so precisely through Thailand. Opposing this are the established order powers. The United States, whose Indo-Pacific strategy is focused entirely on containing China, with bases in Japan, Guam, South Korea, Singapore, Australia, and the Philippines. Japan, economically closely intertwined with Southeast Asia, but strategically firmly in the U.S. camp. Japan also, by the way, has this exact same problem as China, with they need all their oil and commodities need to go through that very same Malacca Strait. But Japan is cucked by the Americans, so they're not trying to have the same Chinese at all. So India increasingly feeling encircled by China's sea routes and ports in the Indian Ocean. Yeah, India not really on your side, China, whatever, but and Singapore, whose entire existence rests on controlling and processing maritime trade flows. So even within ASEAN states, the balance is shifting. While Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar are already firmly integrated into the BRI, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia maintain tactical distance. But Thailand stands precisely in the middle, geographically, economically, politically. And precisely for this reason, the country is more than a transit node. It is the central playing piece, perhaps even the deciding factor. Which I feel like maybe Venezuela is a kind of like the Thailand of South America, you know what I mean? The deciding factor. So
Venezuela is the wait, say it again. The Thailand of South of Asia.
So sometimes when you try those comparisons, it doesn't really work, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I'm just gonna have to ignore Cookie's comments or whatever. Don't have a wife before. She was happy though when I kept it going. Anyway. So Thailand has long positioned itself as the neutral Switzerland of Southeast Asia. See, now it's the Switzerland of Asia. So you can say whatever you want. Pragmatic, independent balancing between blocks, but this balance is growing more fragile. Every decision favoring China, be it a canal, port participation, or infrastructure contract, carries geopolitical costs. And conversely, Thailand can economically hardly afford to completely reject Chinese capital. Or it's more also conversely, you can't exactly afford, like, it carries geopolitical costs to snub China just as much as it does America. They just won't, like, do a color revolution. You know, they'll, I don't know what they'll do. They'll try and dominate you economically instead, right? The big question is, therefore, will Thailand remain a neutral mediator or become the tipping domino that finally unbalances the Indo-Pacific? So scenario 1, the Kra Canal, Suez 2.0 in Southeast Asia. The Kra Canal would be a century project, an artificial waterway straight through southern Thailand, approximately 100 kilometers long, about 25 meters deep, up to 400 meters wide. It would connect the Gulf of Thailand with the Andaman Sea and thereby shorten the transit route between East Asia and the Indian Ocean by up to 1,200 nautical miles, corresponding to a savings of 4 to 6 days transit time for large container ships and supertankers. So as far as this bit here, for the climate change activists, do you want shortened transit time, meaning less fuel expended so that we can get whatever commodities where they need to be? That would benefit the attempts to combat climate change. Building a canal would be the best thing to do, but we can't do that because of the geopolitical risk of saving the planet. Funny how that works. So the other thing, though, about mentioning about that is the Jevons paradox, where when we make a more efficient way to use resources, we actually use more. We don't actually benefit from the increased efficiency because we just kind of waste the newfound power we find, right? So estimated costs range from 25 to 30 billion, depending on construction methods, lock technology, and depth. Once completed, according to projections, up to 100,000 ships annually could pass through the canal, about double that of the Panama Canal, but fewer than through the Strait of Malacca. Expected.
Did you look into? Okay.
Sorry.
The displacement of people for this canal to happen, and how the people that would be displaced are being treated?
So the main good thing that you bring that up, to make it long story short, whatever, maybe I shouldn't try to read this whole thing or whatever, because the reason why I bring up the southern Thailand insurgency, another reason why they can't even do this canal is because it would literally cut Thailand in two. And if they do that, they have whatever, like ISIS in the Middle East, or like the FARC rebels in South Asia, in South America, or whatever. There's always these like rebel groups that are either actual revolutionaries or like CIA fake insurgencies. I'm pretty sure this insurgency in Thailand has been fucking run by the CIA, or before the CIA even fucking existed. Because you read this little blurb, the Southern Thailand insurgency is an ongoing conflict centered in southern Thailand. It originated in 1948. Why is this fucking year always the year that it starts?
Wait, hold on. Welcome, Lani Peterson.
Oh, hey, Lainey.
We almost out of here. Oh, yeah, Lainey, I'm sorry.
That's Extra Bulla's co-host. I've been failing to mention. They have a new show they started a month or two ago called The Undercurrent, I believe. And so they do like morning news. They do good work, so go check them out.
Oh,
you might have to. They tend to be at
put in the chat,
Lainey,
Lainey, the time. Put the time, the name of the show, and the time, so we can shout it out.
Yeah, if you wanna plug your show, go ahead, Lainey. We'll put it up on screen. But yeah, I feel like they're more informative to watch than some of our other independent media people. We can leave it at that.
So this is kind of so we're also talking about like the West Bank, how a lot of the reason they wanted to misplace them is because of the I forget the name of that canal they're trying to make. It starts with a G.
Yeah, the Ben Gurion Canal.
Something, right.
It's all about the canals and the corridors these days. The Zanzibar, corridor.
And like it makes sense for the long term, but what conversations are they having with the people? Because we know in the West Bank they're just like, well, get the fuck, move. Like they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, are they doing the same to these people, or is it
that's where for the Cambodia canal they were trying to build, it got kind of, one of the ways it got stalled is the U.S. used their soft power pressure. They don't care about the climate change stuff. They denied that the climate change is actually happening in the U.S. But when it comes to building canals in Cambodia, all of a sudden the U.S. and Japan and like Europeans or whatever, Australians, they all have something to say about protecting the environment and like the fish that go down the river system that millions of people depend on. So that's the thing about China too. Like, as much as you want to be praising them all day long, some of their infrastructure projects are not exactly environmentally friendly. But if you look at it in a long-term sense, like the climate change thing, like I'm saying with the canal shortening transit time, there is maybe such a thing as some harm, short-term harm to the environment creates long-term fixes that are better, because a lot of our urban planning and development, whatever, has been disastrous for the environment, and we maybe need infrastructure projects to fix the way that we did bad infrastructure in the past. But it's hard to, like, sometimes you're never going to please everybody, right? So, but what they did manage through that process is they have made efforts to not ignore the people or whatever, like trying to protect the fish that rely on the migratory routes and stuff. They're trying to have it both ways, like build the project, but come up with ways to still like create tunnels in the dams or whatever, so that the fish can still get through. But then people are arguing that's not good enough. You're still going to disrupt their natural environment too much. So we should not build anything at all. We should not extract anything we don't need oil, right? Because we're not going to build anything. So yeah, here we go.
What a conundrum. So, oh, thank you. I was just about to do that. Okay. So the name of our fellow comrade, Extra Bulla, and Laney's channel is The Undercurrent, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, every Wednesday. And again, I'm going to put the at.
Yeah, sorry.
At the undercurrent for the number 4 U. So check them out on Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm actually up at that time.
See, I did this. I do the same thing with that we were saying.
I miss Hardlands because he's up too early. I've been getting up early lately, though, so I think I'm going to try to catch Hardlands Media again.
Yeah, well, that's where they're on at the same time usually as Hardlands Media. But this is where I was saying I watch their show like we were saying earlier about. I don't necessarily comment, but I usually watch and lurk in the background. So.
I do that to a lot of shows. I don't, because I'm busy cooking or cleaning.
Plus, I got to make my breakfast, drink my coffee at that time. You know, I pop in sometimes to say hello. Appreciate you guys.
And I actually don't really know when people go live. I just kind of check. I don't get notifications. I'm supposed to, but I don't. I don't know why.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't really rely on those. I just watch the same thing regularly enough, and then it will recommend it. So,
I guess I'm saying for those of you who show up every Thursday, like, thank you, because I don't even know if you get notifications or you just show up, and it's very much appreciated. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Our chat is undefeated.
Well, I don't know about that, but our chat is
strong.
Yeah,
they are. They are. They make me laugh every time. So
let me just kind of explain this little insurgency thing. I think we could probably wrap up then. So it originated in 1948 as a separatist insurgency in a historical Malay Patani region made up of the 3 southernmost provinces of Thailand and parts of a 4th, but has become more complex and increasingly violent since the early 2000s from drug cartels, oil smuggling networks, and sometimes pirate raids. Oh, funny how all those things are happening in Venezuela right now, or alleged to be needing to be put in a stop to. But I'm pretty sure it's the CIA that's funding this insurgency and those drug cartels and those oil smuggling networks and those pirate raids. And that's also for the Somali pirates, so those dreaded Somali pirates. You got to get rid of them or whatever. well, now you can't ever say anything bad about them because you think you legitimize piracy in the most like spectacular way. So the former Sultanate of Patani, which included the southern Thai provinces of Patani, Yala, Nara, Thiwa, also known as the three southern border provinces, as well as neighboring parts of Songkhla province and the northeastern part of Malaysia, was conquered by the Kingdom of Siam in 1785, and except for Kelantan, has been governed by Thailand ever since. So although low-level separatist violence had occurred in the region for decades, the campaign escalated after 2001 with a recrudescence in 2004, which is like the recurrence of an undesirable condition, and has occasionally spilled over into other provinces. So incidents blamed on southern insurgents have occurred in Bangkok and Phuket. In July 2005, Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra assumed wide-ranging emergency powers to deal with the southern violence, but the insurgency escalated further. On 19th of September 2006, a military junta ousted Thaksin in a coup d'etat. The junta implemented a major policy shift by replacing Thaksin's earlier approach with a campaign to win over the hearts and minds of the insurgents. Despite little progress in curbing the violence, the junta declared that security was improving and that peace would come to the region by 2008. By March 2008, the death toll surpassed 3,000, however. During the Democrat-led government of Abisa Vejajiva, Foreign Minister Kasip Piromya, geez, these people's names are insane, noted a sense of optimism and said that he was confident of bringing peace to the region in 2010. But by the end of 2010, it's a never-ending insurgency, just like in fucking Somalia and Libya and all these, right? So it's basically, the point is, if they try and build this canal, it seems like America is going to activate their insurgency to try and balkanize yet another country. So, yeah.
So, before we end, I just want to share again fundraiser for Cowboy Kitty's sister-in-law.
Yeah, Aspen and Shanda. I think Shanda's maybe taken a bit of a turn for the worse, and actually not just Shanda, but Oz too. Oz has had some health problems too, I think, with some prostate cancer. So.
See, I'm not super involved in, like, I don't hear about a lot of stuff to, I need to be smaller.
Well, you're maybe not as plugged into the INN.
You're more in the know than me.
I'm, I guess, more part of the INN chat group or whatever, right? So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so. So if you guys can support a fellow comrade, please do. Information here. All you got to do is go to GoFundMe, Google GoFundMe and Cowboy Kitty, and you'll find it. If all this is too much to remember, just Google GoFundMe Cowboy Kitty. You'll find it. It's there.
Hopefully that situation's resolved. I know it's
he said that they're waiting for another court date, I believe.
Yeah,
if I remember that correctly from earlier, like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I meant to say resolved sooner rather than later.
Oh, okay, I see.
Forever, so I just misspoke.
Well, I misunderstood because I cut you off, so there's that.
Yeah, that was my bad. Anyway.
Oh, waiting for the appeal is what they're doing. Waiting for the appeal.
Yeah.
Okay. So she still needs funding for the lawyer. So $1, $2, $5, $100, whatever you could do.
Yeah. For those of you who are,
these are two unemployed people here. So.
Yeah, I maybe missed my window. I did share a little bit of money, but I meant to donate more during Christmas and stuff. Maybe I'll give some like $10, but I still have a bit of money. But I kind of feel like I got to pinch my pennies now. So. But INN and those guys, they deserve some money besides. Like they're constantly recommending these GoFundMe's and stuff, so you can tell that they're not grifters because they're not trying to they're trying to help other people's fundraisers more so than themselves. So they're just doing the thing that independent media has every right to do, which is a value for value system. If you got anything valuable out of us,
we do. We don't really ask for money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really ask for money.
Maybe we should.
I mean, eventually, I think we should, but maybe we should. But right now, we don't, and that's fine.
Well, up until like
but
today,
yeah, Google.
I was literally
GoFundMe
fine.
Cowboy Kitty, and you'll see it.
Up until today, I was saying I didn't feel like I needed anybody's donations because I was making enough money, right? But if I'm gonna do this more and then one day a week or whatever, maybe if you guys want to see us more, then we'll set up like this donation system thing, and then you can kind of validate
Cowboy Kitty was very
that we actually
kind.
deserve it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, don't donate unless you got it. But if you got it, give it.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense.
Pay it forward. Yeah. Be the
Pay
change
it
you want to
forward.
see.
Be the change you want to see. So I think we put everything on the table we needed to put, right?
I think so. I have tons and tons of things I could have gone with. I meant to talk more about the cocaine trade and like how West Africa has been kind of hijacked for that so that Europe can get their fix. And that's what they want Venezuela for, so they don't have to go all the way through Brazil to trade. Because actually Ben Norton, if you ever watch him, the latest video he just made, really great
I don't know who that is.
content. Ben Norton, check him out, whatever. He's like a socialist who's living in China who used to live in Venezuela for a little while, or Nicaragua.
You have to text me. You have to text it to me. So I can
Ben Norton, I'll text you, but he's a great socialist media, alternative media that nobody knows about, should be paying attention to what he has to say. He just reason why I bring him up, the last video he just made today, he very effectively debunked the narrative about Venezuela's a drug producing, cocaine producing country.
I mean, we already knew that.
A transit country.
We already knew that.
I was suspicious. I'm thinking, even if they don't produce it, I'm pretty sure there's got to be some kind of transit through that country. It's just the path of least resistance. Like the fastest road is always the one they want the most, right? But there's reasons why it's hard for them to have those routes if there's actually anti-drug operations.
Messy. Look at the chat.
Exactly. Yes. This is where everyone's all about Max Blumenthal nowadays, but Ben Norton, I feel like, provides more useful information. Max is kind of more of a tabloid kind of he provides a lot of good reporting, not to shit on Max too much, but he's not really I don't consider him a socialist. I bet you he wouldn't consider himself one either. So if we're the socialists, why are we watching Max instead of Ben? And Ben's a socialist. Same thing with Laney and Uncle Warren, right? There's a lot of people who watch Hardline media went out his way to say, oh, he's not a communist, but we should be watching the people who support the class struggle.
I just try to watch people just to hear the ideas, and I'll formulate my own opinion, but like if I'm just watching all socialists, all communists, then I'm in an echo chamber, right? So
exactly.
I'm trying not to do that and listen to
I know
people.
That's very good of you to do that. But I also feel like nobody listens to the socialist perspective to begin with. So it's like only a small percentage of people actually trying to do the socialist echo chamber. The rest of people are like, socialism? No, miss me with that.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Yeah. Definitely. And I'm like, well, I'm professing socialism because if I don't, who will? And you can shit on me. I don't give a damn. I mean, what you gonna do? Beat me up? No, you're not. You could try. I mean, you might beat me up, but I'm gonna get back up.
Yeah. And it's just like you think you're gonna, by beating me up or whatever, you're gonna get something or whatever. The consequences of doing that is probably gonna be more than you're willing to pay. But you go ahead and think you get something from it, right?
They starting something nasty in the chat. I mean,
we brought up an old beef by
I
talking
hear
about
what y'all.
Max
I hear what
Ben.
y'all are saying. I hear what y'all are saying because, and it's not unwarranted what you're saying, especially with that tweet that was like, oh, one of my friends just told me to pass this along, and everybody was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we don't need to really
the Aaron
fight their
Mate
beefs.
thing. We don't need to get into all that.
For
Okay.
them. Yeah.
So,
but as far as I feel like I have
this
to
is
side with
not
Ben
just.
on that one,
It's not about drugs. That's obvious. We already know he doesn't give a fuck about drugs. Okay. With all his pardons and all the stuff. Okay. It's not even that much about oil. I think that should be our big takeaway today.
I think
It's
it's
not
more
even
about
really
reducing
about oil.
production of oil as opposed to maximizing it. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe reducing the production or having more control over the production to manipulate the market.
Think about how much money they're
And
spending on that.
it's about the Monroe. It's about the Monroe Doctrine.
I looked it up. They're spending like $9 million a day to have that fleet of warships parked in the Caribbean. So whatever money you make, how much have you spent to make it? Taxpayer dollars.
We don't have healthcare, people. We don't have free education. They are actively telling you that you don't need to send your children to college. Not everybody doesn't need to go to college.
No.
Trades are very important. Like, we need all kinds of services. But why are they actively telling you that you don't need to educate your children on a higher level where they are required to look at sources and cite sources to turn in papers? Why are you doing that? Because you don't want them to research. You don't want people researching. That's pretty much why they don't want you to send your children to college. But guess what? Their children are going to college.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you that much.
But the other thing about with the blockade and stuff, with them interdicting Russian oil tankers and stuff, so then what happens? Now they have to send warships to protect every commercial ship. How are you supposed to make money with trade when you have to spend all this money to send 2 ships or 3 ships instead of 1? And then how do we pay for that with inflation? They just spent how many years talking about how we got inflation back under control. What do you think's going to happen this year? They just unleashed inflation all over again. So, but we need to be educated about how that shit works. But yeah, now they got the education program, or the Department of Education's kissed it goodbye. So just in time for us to really need our education. But now they plucked your eyes out. You don't get to see what's happening.
Yeah, maybe next time we need to do it. Just take about, I don't know, an hour to look through Project 2025 to see how far they've gotten. Mm-hmm. Because that education, that's a big deal. I've been paying attention to that.
Well, all this technology, give everyone AI and everything, and now we can see it's not good for us physically. It's not good for us mentally. Nobody knows how to write anymore. Nobody has any memory or attention span anymore. Let's keep pushing all that AI while we got the fucking Department of Education at the same time. They're trying to make us stupid. They're very successfully making us stupid.
Not us.
Well, exactly.
They could try.
But unfortunately, too many of the millennials are killing capitalism, right? That was a thing back in the day. I think history is proving that millennials have shit the bed on that. A little bit.
Well, I have a few things I could play to go out on. I'm not sure. One was just kind of funny to me. But of course, they're talking about oil. Everybody's talking about oil, but we try to look at the bigger picture today, right?
Yeah, check out
So I can
check
go
out
out
the
on
silver markets and the AI. That's funny, a fun thing to notice.
check out the what?
The silver markets and the AI. I was mentioning all these data centers they're building.
We've talked about that.
That price of silver is supposed to come down, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to for a while. So that's not investment advice. Just saying.
I'm just gonna play something I think is kind of cutesy to go out on. But this is what I wanted to say to you. We never got a chance to do it, but I was watching Tim Black. Oh, I wanted to get your reaction so bad. Tosh and I was watching, and his response to the whole Venezuela thing.
You could still
I
share.
wanted to gag. What are you saying?
You doing some Uncle Ruckus type stuff?
I'm not gonna call it Uncle Ruckus, but he sounded like a nihilist. Like he sounded so defeated, and I just couldn't believe.
I'm not sure what your opinion of Tim Black is, but what I remember from him is hearing about what RBN's take on him was, and he's kind of like not too revolutionary in any way. He's a little bit of an embarrassment. So
yeah, maybe we could watch it next time. Just like I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway,
we got lots to talk about. We'll be back.
I know. Okay, so we're gonna look, guys. Come back around Monday or Tuesday. We want you guys to join in on the conversation. No, but we want it to be not just us. We want people to jump in whenever they want to. Jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that works. See if you guys like that.
Yeah. So
yes, Tim Black.
Support us while we try that, because if we try and invite people in and then nobody shows up, that kind of makes it hard to do that. So.
Well, Lance says new time. So what we were thinking about, we don't really know how to do it yet, but we were thinking about like just having it for hours, and so people could jump in and jump out.
Maybe try and do more
according to their schedule,
like a day-long stream instead of just a.
Yes.
We've done like 4 hours, but we could do like kind of like Truth Zone's show where they do like 8. They go like fucking 24-hour streams. I don't need to do that long, but we can do if we do like a longer show that gives people time to cycle.
Yes, based on their schedule and stuff like that. Yeah. So both of us might not be here. It might just be one of us or the other one or something like that. Because we also need time to do stuff in our world, but
this is where I think it
would be nice we had races.
Huh? That's funny. I never thought about that. Whites are not necessarily Caucasians, but you got a good point there.
No, because they're white Cubans, they're white Venezuelans. They're the ones all in Miami cheering for the downfall of a communist or socialist president of Cuba and Venezuela. Those are all the white Cubans, and they white, but they not white. You know, they're just real light skin.
Makes me wonder how broad is the definition of Caucasian?
The definition of the definition of white and the definition of Caucasian are two different things.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Caucasus one day. That's a fascinating part of the world as well.
Yeah. There's some whites that don't come straight out of the Caucasus Mountains. Yeah, white came from the need for the elites to make sure we were fighting amongst each other by something other than our mutual needs, which was food, housing, and education. You know what I
It's
mean?
so tired of all that now, but it's got to play out its historical, whatever significance. As much as we want it to be over, like history has to run its course, and I'm pretty sure at least the vast majority, or not the majority of the white supremacism has already happened, and we need to see the worst of it, the tail end of it happen. So
read that. He said he's only a quarter Mexican.
He also said
like
that his penis was so small it created a black hole.
That boy said he only a quarter Mexican. He a quarter Mexican, quarter, I think it was Irish or something, and then half Italian. So I don't know what he said.
It's ridiculous.
Baby, what happened to the one drop rule?
That's the last handful of ancestors that you base your percentage on. But if you really do the actual, like all your DNA, the majority of your percentage is like not white. You know what I mean? Like Roman, half of us, right?
Y'all making me laugh. Okay. See, this is why we want to do that open forum where people could just come up and we're just gonna talk shit. We're still gonna be, talking domestic foreign policy, but we're gonna talk shit too. We're gonna get off subject. We're gonna get off topic. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I think it would be cool if we managed to grow to a point where we could even have more co-hosts than just you and me. We can't promise anything. That has to be something. If you guys want to join us, that's up to you, right? But we can do more. Like there's potential, right?
Yep. So, life is culture is life. Oh, look a little sappy.
So I hope we didn't go too long today. I hope you guys learned some
It's
stuff.
almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's possible. Yes, it is possible. So we are going to leave. We're leaving now. Everybody, thank you for sticking with us. We enjoy you. We've been gone for 2 weeks for the holidays.
And we were gone too long, so we gave you a long stream when we got back. I hope you like it. So.
Yeah. Somebody already committed to coming on the show.
That would be great.
That would be great.
See your ugly mug there, Sean. Wonderful to hear from you. So.
And our little Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Our little white Mexican.
That would be something I never expect to happen, but that would be quite hilarious if one of these days we end up brushing shoulders with these characters like Nick Fuentes and them. We'll do like a debate with them on somebody's stream one day or whatever. Probably not. I don't want to have to associate with those people, but you never know, right? A lot of these RBN, like Nick Cruz and them on RBN, they've talked with a lot of these people that we consider kind of cringe people, right? But you got to take them
all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
You got to give people that content of the actual dialectic with the enemy, right? Because that doesn't happen much. So.
Yeah. So thank you guys for sticking with us for this very long stream, and since we've been gone so long, for even remembering to come back. We appreciate you for that.
Yeah, thank
you. We're about to be out. We will see you Monday or Tuesday. Do you want to commit to a day? You want to do it now?
Doesn't matter what day.
It
Tuesday was always
the
day that seemed to work for me, but now all my days are open for now. So just whatever day works for you. So
Tuesday.
All right, Tuesday it is. That way we don't.
So Tuesday we're gonna be kicking it all damn day and all evening.
Sounds good.
We're just gonna be chilling. Okay. So come hit us up on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and in the meantime, have a good weekend. And we love you, comrades.
Yep. what is it? Stay strong, stay you, and stay the hammer. Yeah.
And don't take shit from nobody.
Now, I want to make sure I have my notes correct on this one, shall we? We bombed Venezuela. Right. Kidnapped the president and his wife, brought them to the United States of America to press criminal charges when we have a criminal in charge? Is that what's happening? Let me just go back. And this is about drug trafficking when we have a child trafficker in office? This can't be about drugs. Let's correct on this one, shall we? We bombed Venezuela. Right. Kidnapped the president and his wife, brought them to the United States of America to press criminal charges when we have a criminal in charge? Is that what's happening? Let me just go back. And this is about drug trafficking when we have a child trafficker in office? This can't be about drugs when the tech bros and the bros on Wall Street have it up their nose. It just can't be. Y'all don't care about drugs like that unless you're planting them in black neighborhoods. Didn't you just pardon the president of Honduras for the same thing? Is it based on the type of drugs? Is that what it is? Oh my Lord, y'all. The Williams brothers said, if you take 6 months to mind your own business and 6 months to leave other folks' business alone, you got to sweep around your own front door. I don't understand. If we were doing a regime change, why nobody tell me? Why don't another country come over here and take him and his wife and his kids up out of here for us? Why are we always in somebody else's business? Oh, that's in the notes too. Or